night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're causing their flaws. You got me let go. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough.
Jesus. We'll unmute it when he starts. Hilarious. They actually think that they're like serving some purpose. You know? It's kind of funny. So I'm going to let him just do his little racist thing with his intro, and then we'll unmute it. Yep, there we go. There it is.
Said in the chat he's working on coming in. Somebody asked about my thing that was supposed to be on the Rumble channel. They flaked out. I was all set and ready. I finally got an email from them. I'll have to respond to it. Where the guy has a different schedule, all kind of, and whatever. I'm going to work it out with him, and we're going to try to run it again next week. So we'll see what happens with that. Boy, got some people popping in here already. We got something Wong back there making slurping noises already. I don't know what he's doing, but it's science. I can tell you that. Anyway.
No, it's called racism, dipshit.
Look, we got Greg Braden's in here with us.
Sorry. Bad word.
Tonight, Bogan Al's here. We got Saddle Bomb. What up? Kevin Barber. What's happening? I laugh every time I watch the Globe. The one with the I'm retarded, I'm a globe. Y'all want to see that again? You just want to see it for a second? Why not?
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm convinced. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I enjoy that myself. Kind of cracks me up.
You would, because...
Let me see your war flipper. I wouldn't know anything.
Hold on.
But I'm just a dumb flipper. I wouldn't.
There we go.
That one gets me in this one. The babbling baby. I like.
That's what you guys sound like, man. You guys are toddlers. You are intellectual toddlers.
That was recorded during a debate. That was a Glober's retort to one of the many questions posed to them that they don't seem to be able to answer at any given time. Not with anything.
No, you've asked us a lot of questions. We've answered them all. You're just not smart enough to understand the answers or honest enough to accept them. So, and seeing as you have no proof, no map, no model, and no measurements of your flat Earth, what are you talking about?
Incoherent. We got Mojo Shops in the house with us here tonight as well. Got Jehovah's lovely daughter, Barbara. There's Stinky Cash rolling in with us. What's happening, brother? We got Robert Kelly tonight. Got Kevin Barber, Mandela Effect, Jonathan Bardsley. How are you doing, my friend? Keelan Prudhomes joined us as well. True Earth Cherry Popper. Like that. Keelan Prudhomes. Listen, these Globers, Seeker, good to see you. Listen, this shit is so weak. It's not even funny. We're going to be talking about here in a little while about where the nautical mile comes from and how the whole coordinate system came into existence, with the coordinate system that we're using. And it all hinges on a group of little powerful men called the what the fuck is that thing called? The Royal Board of Longitude, and it's quite a fascinating story. We're going to get into that. I want to show a thing that I've found on Facebook from, I don't know if y'all have seen this. It's the What If channel or something like that, and this thing was talking about if the Earth was flat. And I'm telling you what, I showed it to my wife. It's only like 3.5 minutes long. And she was like, what the fuck are they talking? And she doesn't argue flat earth and shit, but I mean, you guys are going to find this crazy. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on, Stinky Cash? How you doing tonight? Are you there? You're muted, bro. Can I unmute you? No, you have to unmute yourself. So Stinky Cash, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. 5x5, sir.
How's the quality?
5x5 sounds good, man. So
excellent,
far, so good.
excellent.
That's all right, Angela. We're gonna let it slide this time, okay? But let's not make this a habit, right?
Yeah, Angela has really been slacking off lately.
Hasn't she? I know, right? What do you reckon's going on? I bet you it's something to do with Sean.
I'll tell you what it is. All jokes aside, the weather's gotten nicer. So she's outside. She's gardening. She's living her life. She's not in these live streams as much.
I can understand. All right, we're gonna give you a pass on that then, Angela. Anyway, I got to show you guys this. This is funny as hell. I saw this. I wasn't planning on showing this, and then I ran across it, and I was like, "You have got to be freaking kidding me!" So I just want to run this by. Watch this. This is funny as shit.
What if the flat earthers were right and the Earth was, in fact, flat? How would gravity work? Would we still have time zones? Change of seasons? Would the conditions for life here on Earth exist at all? This is What If, and here's what the Earth would look like if it was flat.
So this guy, hey, West Side Girl reacts. So this guy that's talking is Professor Kyle, whatever the hell is Adams, Professor Kyle Adams, calls himself a professor, claims to actually be a professor, and none of these morons call him on it. But yet they'll criticize Dave for an entire 3-hour stream because he used to be a professor, but isn't anymore.
First of all, forget about walking to its edge. Gravity would simply not let you. Wait, would gravity even be possible on a flat Earth? The answer is yes, of course. The force of gravity...
No, because flat earthers believe that gravity doesn't exist on a flat Earth. That's why. So you think it's something different.
...is what keeps our planet, or any other planet, together.
Wait, gravity's not a force? What are you talking about?
It's funny. This is one of those original straw man anti-flat Earth arguments when they say that gravity on a flat Earth, because they have to apply their global science to the flat Earth.
See, there is no straw man because you don't have anything to straw man. You can't decide on any kind of a model, map, or anything. So there's nothing to straw man.
They have no other way of thinking, right? So they'll say, well...
Right. Science exists whether you want it to or not. So we apply science to scenarios. So...
since gravity must pull from the center of mass, and the center of mass of a disk is at the center of the disk, the North Pole, that everything would be pulled towards the North Pole. So the further south you traveled, the more and more it would feel like you were climbing uphill.
Yeah, that's exactly what they say. This is it. Watch this. This is
right. Yes, that's exactly what would happen.
Exactly.
I'm more than capable of steel manning their straw man.
Oh, this is pitiful.
No, you're not. Well, it's not a straw man. We've taken the information you've given us, compiled a model because you're too lazy and cowardly.
pitiful. This is pitiful. This is, and oh my God, I mean, yeah, this is totally not what. And then they show a standard AE projection map and say that it's provided by the.
Oh, I'm not too afraid to show up, Boston. Is that what this piece of work has been telling you? No, he's too terrified to present a map, model, and measurements of his flat Earth to actually bring evidence to a debate. See, he's never brought any kind of evidence to any debate he's been in. So I'm holding his feet to the fire, and he's a chicken, and he won't agree to do that because he knows he can't, because he knows there is no evidence for flat Earth.
The Flat Earth Society. And it's like, what? No, it's provided by a map company, you dumbass. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a map.
It's what forms a planet in the first place. In the case of a pancake-shaped Earth,
Oh
the force of gravity would pull you to the center and would become stronger as you tried to walk away from it, pulling the top of your body backwards.
Why in the fuck they got the center in Africa, too? That's kind of dumb.
It would feel as if you were climbing a hill that was getting steeper and steeper and steeper. By the time you reach the edge, down and behind you would
Hey, Real Cygnus.
be the same direction. Sound weird? How about water being sucked into the center of the Earth? Or diagonal trees growing in the opposite direction of gravity's pull? And then there's the sun. How would a flat Earth behave in space?
There'd be no sunset. The sun would be up all the time. Everyone would be able to see the sun at all times. There'd be no nighttime on flat Earth. So this right here wouldn't exist.
One flat Earth theory is that the sun revolves around the Earth, not the other way around. What if the sun orbited the Earth just like the moon does? In that case, you'd never suffer jet lag because there'd be no such thing as time zones. The sun would light up both the top and the bottom of the planet. This would mean constant
What?
light, no day and night cycle. Also, no seasons or solar eclipses. The sun
No, there would never be a solar eclipse. Ever.
itself would have to be much smaller. Otherwise, it would burn the Earth to a crisp. It would probably fry the planet anyway, as there would be no geomagnetic field to protect Earth from its radiation. The geomagnetic field is generated in the solid core of the Earth and keeps our atmosphere from escaping. Without it, cosmic rays would bombard our bodies, causing everything from cancer to DNA.
It doesn't prevent our atmosphere from escaping. Gravity does that. It keeps the solar winds from stripping our planet of its atmosphere.
damage.
Cosmic rays from what?
From space, man. From space.
The oceans would escape into space, and so would the air and all our oxygen. But let's assume that a flat Earth had an alternative to our magnetic field. This way you'd still be alive to notice some of the strange flat Earth effects, like your shadow.
Maybe that isn't Kyle. Sounds like Kyle Adams. I guess it's not.
Say you had a friend just as tall as you, but they lived 1,000 miles away. On a sunny day, your shadows would be the very same length. Because unlike here, on a spherical Earth, the sun's rays would hit both of you at the same angle. And if you two were to meet up, traveling would turn out very different. Let's take a map introduced by the Flat Earth Society. Yeah, the one that shows...
And Dave, the flat earther, Dave Weiss, and every flat earther that comes on to debate anything.
the Arctic at the center and Antarctica as an ice wall around the edges. In this world, it would take you 32 hours to fly from Australia to Argentina. Did we mention?
Why would it take 32 hours?
Because planes fly so long, and they're a certain distance apart. You don't know how travel works.
It's another straw man that I keep hearing. It's they love to go straight to this South America to Australia flight and claim it would be too far and impossible.
Yeah, it would. Yes, it would. On the flat Earth, it would be impossible, but that flight's made regularly.
Oh, I know.
And it's the Flat Earth Clock app.
So you just deny some parts of reality if they hurt your feelings.
uploaded a little clip from Jaronism where Jaron straight up he shows the measurements. I mean, if you assume the equator is 25,000 miles, and then you extrapolate that, it's not an impossible distance.
Yeah, pretty much it is. Yeah, it's a third of the way around the planet, around the disk.
Especially when you're factoring in the jet streams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, the jet streams.
Why they feel so comfortable.
I love that cop out.
Just mindlessly repeating these falsehoods. You know what I mean?
Well, it filters its way down from their priests.
Right.
And
they're priests.
And then they just go ahead and repeat the mantra. And never to even once think about it because it's just
Man, that's some heavy projection there, Dave.
Just want reification of their stupid
measured spherical Earth
fucking model. You
don't know what a model is, do you, Dave? So you can't reify a model. A model is measurements. Can you reify a blueprint? No, you can't.
Yeah, that sounds good. That works. You didn't bother looking any further into it.
Really? Yes, we have. We absolutely have. And we have, because we've presented the proof that we have. All you do is you look at the water and say it's flat. You haven't gotten past the first step of the scientific method in 7 years. So you can quit projecting and cope.
But,
it's funny because where this all came from. Sorry, I keep adjusting my camera. I'm trying to get this. I don't usually put myself on camera, so I don't know how to get this set up. But one of the trolls I'm dealing with right now, he keeps bringing up this flight as if it debunks the flat Earth.
It does.
And it proves that the Earth must have curvature. And he's taught.
Also, if you take that flight from South America to from Argentina to Australia, you should pass over China on a flat Earth because that's the shortest route. So, does anyone pass over China? No, they don't, because the Earth isn't flat.
And he goes into nautical miles. Yeah. And that's where I want to talk to you about nautical miles. And I want to start at the very beginning.
We're going
the origins of it, why you need it, and then how that term has evolved. Because from what I'm seeing, that term has kind of evolved throughout history, and then it has been standardized to a set distance.
Yep, it has. So, I got some stuff about. We're going to get deep into that because it's really a can of worms, especially when it comes to setting the longitudinals.
No, it's pretty simple. It's not a can of worms. It's pretty elementary.
When this was really quite a problem. But we'll finish this out and we'll get into that.
Awesome.
Shouldn't there be no GPS? Satellites wouldn't be able to orbit a flat Earth, leaving humanity with no navigation and no synchronized time. This means no ATMs, no credit cards, no high-speed stock market transactions. On the bright side, with a good pair of binoculars, you could see Dubai's Burj Khalifa from any part of the flat world. But let's be honest, you don't need to build your own rocket to see that the Earth is not flat. The evidence is all around us.
God, now, come on. Is that what the world looks like to you, man? Come on. At that altitude right there, you've got that much curvature. Look at that. Just in 3 blocks. We've got like all kinds of curvature. I mean, by the time you get to the...
Well, you people seem to think that you can replicate the effective curvature on your kitchen table. So what are you talking about?
The edge of the city, you're damn near antipodal to the people on the other side. Come on. Oh, that city's a ball.
Go ahead, share this video with someone who sees the world differently from you. And don't forget to follow What If so you won't miss any new What If videos.
Yeah, he sounds like he's from like North USA, like around Minnesota, Wisconsin. He sounds like he sounds like Kyle Adams, but he's not. You can tell the difference.
Have a burning what if question? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. When did you start a special ed program for Globetards? Holy crap, man. That's my biggest question to you. So yeah, I remember you were saying to me, Cash, you were saying that, you know, what's up with this nautical mile? And I was like, yeah, that's a great can of worms. I've looked into
It's Kyle from Utah.
this before, and this is why I've said, and these people, they start kvetching. Where's your map? Where's your model? I'm like, you don't even have an accurate map, bro.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Google Maps is our accurate map. That's our accurate map. Google Maps on the yeah, it's pretty accurate. Very accurate. Like within meters accurate.
Okay, you have to go by a coordinate system that is set. Okay,
Yeah, coordinate systems are easily set. You don't have varying coordinate systems in 3D. So what's your point? Do you think that's a like a point?
okay, and it's not necessarily correct.
What? Yes, the coordinate system is absolutely correct. Yes, it is.
Because we've got two different types of distances going on.
No, we have two different ways of measuring distance going on. On land, we have the statute mile or kilometer, and on sea, we have the nautical mile, which is 1.852 kilometers. That's what we have. If you go 1.852 kilometers, you've gone 1 knot. If you go 1 kilometer, you've gone less than 1 knot. See how that works?
We've got
So there's no conflict at all. It's just your complete misunderstanding of how standards of measure work.
statute miles, and then we've got nautical miles. Now,
I mean, does he think this is a gotcha?
statute miles are physical measurements that you can actually make.
Right. Yes, and you can make physical measurements with any measure. Yeah. Which one was he talking about? I was reading and not paying attention.
Types of distances going on. We've got statute miles, then we've got nautical miles.
Right.
Now, statute miles are physical measurements
Right. So are nautical miles.
that you can actually make.
Right.
Nautical miles are based on an observation of distant objects.
No, they're not. They're based on how long a nautical mile is. Actually, a unit of measurement defined as 1,852 meters, 6,076.1 feet. Historically, it was defined as 1 minute of latitude, which is equivalent to 1/16th of a degree of latitude. The derived unit of speed is the knot, defined as 1 nautical mile per hour. So yes, it can be measured. What are you talking about? And it's not measured from how close you can see stuff. You actually measure it when you're on a ship moving. You throw out, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a board that has a rope attached to it. You throw it in the water, and it creates drag on the rope, and you measure off how long it takes for so many knots to go through your fingers. That's how you measure a knot, a nautical mile. So go ahead and lie some more.
In relation to where they were a certain amount of time ago.
No. It's the amount of distance they go in a certain amount of time. That's how many knots there are.
So which is going to be more accurate? The measurement or the calculation?
All measurements are calculated. All measurements are calculations, man. All of them. Especially speed or distance.
So what it seems that has appeared to have been done, and I'm going to show this little graphic. I'm not sure if I saved it yet here to.
So this is the title of this stream he has here is Gaslight Coordinates with Guest. So he's gaslighting about the coordinates. It's a very true title.
This.
See, he hasn't bothered researching anything, or else he wouldn't have said what he said. So he's lying and gaslighting his audience.
What I can real quick. I'm going to grab it because I sent it to my son too.
Enough.
There we go. And then that was easy for me to get onto the computer. So what it appears that they've done is they've gone to.
I mean, I can gear my speedometer or my odometer to, or put the correct size tires on it to read in nautical miles. You can go 15 nautical miles on land. You can do that. Same way as you can either go a kilometer, or you can go 1,000 meters, or you can go, 0.6 miles, or whatever. You can do anything like that. You can convert any measurement. But he doesn't understand this.
This area they call the equator. And then mirrored it.
So what?
When in fact it's.
So what's an equator on flat Earth? What's an equator? Equal? No, the center and the outside aren't equal at all. So why is it called an equator? You want to know why? Because the Earth is a sphere and the equator divides it into two equal parts. Equator.
It's not really quite mirrored. These longitudinal lines, if they're going from center, will keep to radiate outward and outward and outward. We're going to show some stuff where there's been drastic speed differences in the south as opposed to the north. And let me bring this little graphic up. This is great.
Drastic speed differences how? Of what? Of what? Of planes? What, your 1,000,000-mile-an-hour fucking headwinds or whatever? Trade winds or jet streams or whatever excuse you're using today?
And it kind of shows really what.
Sorry, I've been trying to clean up my language and I keep tripping up. I'm sorry.
Was done.
No, see, what you have here, watch. Oh, hold on. See, this right here is how it begins. And this is what you have to do to make it a flat Earth.
Okay, so what they did is at the equator, then they just mirrored it.
See, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense when you flatten it out. It becomes all distorted. See, in order to go from here to here, from here to here, you'd have to fly over, pretty much over the United States, over China. Yeah, it doesn't work, man.
Because here's a problem that we've got. You have an anchor star known as Polaris.
A what? An anchor star? No, it moves, man. Polaris moves. Shares the throne of the North Star as being our North Star, our Polaris, with 7 other stars, 6 or 7. And it takes about a 650,000 year circuit. Polaris is constantly moving off center, man.
And that's your reference point in conjunction with other constellations.
All right, good night, West Side Girl. Thanks for stopping in, man.
This is how they're calculating their positions in vast bodies of water with no
what
land reference or anything else to go by.
Right, we use GPS for that.
Once you've passed that equatorial line, you've lost sight of Polaris.
Right. So how do you find your way then? Use the Southern Cross and the direction it points. And there's another star where they cross. That's the center of rotation. That's what you do. Setting up a telescope south of the equator must be not a fun task.
Now you only have movement, and you have to calculate it by accurate time.
No, you don't. You use celestial navigation south of the equator, just like you would north of the equator. But if the Earth was flat, everybody would be able to see Polaris. Everybody.
So let's stop. Hold on. Let's stop.
I mean, this is proven. I've proven this, man.
Right there, Dave. So basically, we need to talk about why Polaris appears to dip towards the horizon as you start traveling further south. The globe.
No, so you need to. It would dip toward the horizon whether the Earth was flat or spherical. What you need to address is why Polaris dips 1 degree for every 69 nautical miles traveled. That's what you need to address. Because that relationship between angle and latitude is impossible on a flat Earth. It's a linear function which cannot work on a flat surface.
The globe model says that it's due to the curvature.
Mm-hmm.
So the Earth is curved, the sky is flat, and you're seeing in straight lines.
Say what? The sky is flat? The sky is flat, guys. The sky is flat.
But we know that that's not the case. You know, we know it's not what's attributed to curvature is actually perspective.
Right.
So as you travel.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This has been proven time after time after time. You don't know. You don't understand perspective. So, yeah, you just don't understand stuff, man. You think you do because other idiotic people tell you do, but you don't want to trust what they say.
Travel further south, it's your perspective causing the star to appear to go down towards the horizon. So instead of a curved Earth and a flat sky seeing in straight lines, we live on a flat Earth with a curved sky, and we see with perspective. Now, it seems like the globetards, they're not capable of factoring in perspective to the conversation.
Well, those latitudes were derived by angles to Polaris, and I've got some videos going to show exactly what they got going on with this. So it's, you know, at 38 degrees, you're viewing you see Polaris at a 38 degree angle. With 45th parallel, you're seeing it at 45 degrees. Okay?
Now, is that the case every single day, all the time, or are there atmospheric and other conditions that are going to throw that off?
It appears to be. Now, there may have been some slight variations because I'm seeing some stuff about 62 arc minutes and then them rounding it to 60 arc minutes. We're going to get into a little bit more of that because I've got this whole article on a nautical mile from Wikipedia that we're going to go over.
Yeah. Well, my understanding of
I bet it doesn't say what you said it says.
a nautical mile is that it represents 1 arc minute.
Okay. Yeah. That's where it's at now.
Okay.
But
No, that's where it's always been. It's where it's always been, man.
before we get into that, first we have to establish where did they get the latitudes. The latitudes had to be derived from a plane survey type situation. You have
Okay. Your lines of latitude. What about lines of longitude? Why are straight lines, the straight lines that radiate out from the North Pole on a flat Earth, why are they measured in degrees of a circle?
to have a flat baseline.
No, you don't. No. We already knew how big the Earth is. We just divided it into 360 parts.
Right? So if your latitudes are the degrees of angle that you're viewing Polaris. Okay. Then once you get past the equator, it has to be assumed that those distances are going to be the same as they are up in the north between the latitudes. So that's what they did. They just
But on a flat Earth, those distances aren't the same. On a flat Earth, if you start at the North Pole and you look straight up, then you walk 69 nautical miles south, it will not drop a degree. If you walk another 69 nautical miles, it will have not dropped 2 whole degrees. It will be a little less, and a little less, and a little less. It's a logarithmic function. It's not a linear function.
extrapolated that. Now, the problem is trying to actually accurately define where those latitudes are at. Not to mention the longitudes, because now your reference point is gone. And the only thing you have.
No, we have other planets. We have stars that we navigate by. We don't use Polaris to navigate by. We use Polaris to find our latitude north of the equator, and then we use other stars to find our latitude south of the equator. You don't know what you're talking about.
Are those stars which are moving?
But on a flat Earth, you'd be able to see Polaris everywhere.
Think they did something with using the Southern Cross too. There's some more information on that.
Well, that's what they claim, but I have a feeling that
No, that's what they do. Sailors actually do that. It's not. There's no claim behind it. It's actual practice. So you can keep going all you want, but it just makes you look foolish.
Southern navigation using the Southern Cross is nonsense.
That's what I'm saying, because that's not a stationary constellation.
It's not even visible to sailors. It's
Really?
not like the North Star at all.
Right. You have the Southern Cross, and it points toward where the southern rotational point is, and then another set of stars make a cross, and that's where the center of rotation is. But yeah, now we can just go by GPS, dude. Yeah, we know what time it is all the time now. We don't have to use the stars to tell the time or where we are.
At all. And because a majority of us live in the north, they could tell as many lies about the Southern Cross as they want.
Hey, casual engineer.
90% of the population lives in the north.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was about to say, I don't know. I've never been south of the equator to view any.
I don't think I've ever been south of the equator either. I think the furthest south I've ever made it was Costa Rica.
Okay. Yeah, I know I'm not. I think, yeah, because the Tropic of Cancer is right just about at Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm north of that tropic. I've spent just about every bit of my time in this realm above that tropic.
Now, how about this phenomenon? If you were to live on
realm
on the equator, if you're living between the tropics, between the two tropics at the equator, so like in June, you would have.
Yeah, why aren't the two tropics the same size on flat Earth? Why is that when they're the same size in reality?
Have to look.
You know how you could fix that?
North.
Right north to see the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and it would go right to left in your frame, right? But then in December, you would have to look south, and it would go left to right.
No, it would go right to left if you were looking north.
Yeah.
It goes from east to west.
Yeah, and then it would go the opposite.
South, and then it would go from left to right.
Right. All the stars would just be horizontal lines looking south. There'd be no rotational point on a flat Earth. Just like if you're standing in the middle of a Ferris wheel or a merry-go-round, and they're going around. If you have lights that are on the canopy of the thing, you'd see it spinning in the north, and then you look south, and it's just straight across. It's just like what the flat Earth would be.
Because you'd
Yeah.
have to view it in the winter.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Like in this.
And the further you went from the center, the star trails would be oval, and we never see oval star trails, ever.
December, you'd have to look south to see the sun, and of course, then it's going in the opposite direction, left to right. It's still going east to west. It's just your orientation that's changed.
Right.
Yeah.
I try to explain that to globetards all the time when they say that the stars rotate in opposite directions. I was like, how?
Right, like a clock face. Yes, if you look at one side of a clock, it goes clockwise. If you look at the other side of the clock, it appears to go counterclockwise. Why is that so hard to understand?
How can the same object rotate in two directions at the same time?
Just told you.
Right.
It's not accurate.
I mean, you're not smart enough to figure that out.
Actually, what's happening?
So let me see here. I'm going to put this over here so I can manipulate it and keep this screen up at the same time. God, I've got so many pages open, but I'll be able to get rid of some of them once we start using them. Okay, so let's see. We want to present, and this is from our good friend Wikipedia. And best place to start is a nautical mile. What is a nautical mile? Okay. So it says here, is that big enough? Can you folks at home read that? Or do you want me to blow it up a little bit? Or is that good?
That's why I have the iPad in my hand.
Let me see. Let me see. I can give it just a little bit of.
This is the left arm of Master Chief from Halo. Here's his torso with his head on the torso. Then his arm goes there. And his other arm, you can either put it down or raise it up. Looks stupid raised up. It's probably designed to go down. But that's how big the thing is. Still have to do the legs and the base. But the detail on the thing is amazing. It really is. The supports left little divots that I have to clean up. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I mean, it's 35 micron accuracy. You can't see layer lines at all. Not one. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. Here's a hand or an arm. Anyway.
So no, I'm fucking blind.
All right. So it says a nautical mile is a unit of length used.
And I still haven't gotten up the courage to test my resin or filament printer out to find out how I broke it again. I'm going through a thing with it.
Used in air, marine, and space navigation. And for the
What's this, man? North Pole, equator? What do you think this is down here? Think that may be the South Pole?
definition of territorial waters. Historically, it was defined as the meridian arc length corresponding to 1 minute, 1/60th of a degree
Right, that's not what you said at all.
of latitude at the equator. So that
So your citation contradicts you.
Earth's polar circumference is very near to 21,600 nautical miles. Okay. And so that works out, that's 60 minutes times 360 degrees.
Right, now multiply 21,600 times 1.865, I think. What do you get? You get about 24,000.
Yeah, it's not a
The circumference of a globe. of the globe.
It's not a distance. It's just degrees.
Yes, it is a distance based on how many degrees in a circle. That's what it is. That's how we derived it.
Yep.
How
Ain't that-
how can a circumference be anything other than 21,600 minutes?
Right.
How could it be anything else? It's a circle.
It sure is. Yes. The meridian lines are a circle. You absolutely got that correct.
It's supposed to be.
See, and that's what we're basing it on. Not longitude. Not longitude. Latitude. Because we couldn't determine longitude back then. That's why we had the longitude prize.
That 2160 is big. You know, that's the diameter of the moon is 2,160 miles.
Well, that's basically like 6 cubed, right? So it's like 6
Yeah.
times 6 times 6 is 216.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what happened. Yeah, that all
Another-
comes back to the fact that our math and our time is all based on this like 60s. It's all based on 6 and 6.
It's actually 2,159 miles. You're about 400 and some off. 441 off.
60.
I think they call it a sexagesimal system.
I watched a YouTube video about it and why we use it and where it came from, but I'm blanking.
What? You mean a sexadecimal system? You mean that?
On all this stuff I learned.
So it says, let's see here. Today, the International Nautical Mile is
Hexagesimal? Jexamal? What?
defined as 1,852 meters or 6,076 feet. 1.151 statute miles.
Right. They're all the same distance. They're all the same length. It just depends on what you want to put after the number.
Now, see, I was
Okay, so on your here, like, so if you took 6,076, or actually let's do it in miles. If you took the 1.151 and you multiplied it by the 21,600, you get the circumference of the Earth, allegedly, or
Yes, in statute miles. Yes.
really what it is it's the circumference of the equator.
Right.
Right, which is it's the circumference of the Earth. It's going from the North Pole to the equator. See, this is how they measured it. Not the equator, like this.
It's not really the polar circumference that they used to come up with this.
Yes, it is, because we couldn't determine longitude back then.
It's the equator's
Accurately.
circumference they used. Like, do the math yourself. It should come out.
Wait, did a flat earther say do the math yourself? This is Man, these guys are hilarious.
21,600 times 1.151. That should come out to 24,901, right? The exact.
I might have that up.
Yes, that's how we derived all these things, from degrees of a circle of the Earth. North to south, man.
I think I have.
Do you have a calculator?
Yeah, I have one.
I mean, you're showing it right here, dude. You're showing this is the cross section of the spherical Earth. Okay? This is a cross section of the spherical Earth.
Here, I'm going to find it real quick. Oh, wait, there's the calendar.
Here, I have a calculator on my iPad in my hand.
Here, I got it.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
not
it.
a
Okay,
distance.
perfect.
Okay, so what are we wanting to do? Just punch me numbers. 20.
So yeah, so we're doing 21,600. That's how many minutes there are around the circle,
Right.
right? And then we're multiplying that by the 1.151.
No.
So it's 24. I got
Oh, yeah.
24,000.
No, you're multiplying it times 1.852. So you want to multiply the feet times 1.51 to get how many nautical miles and how many feet in a nautical mile. So you don't know you don't know what you're doing because it's math.
861.
0.6, yeah.
I'm saying that they came up with that standardized distance. They assigned a distance to a minute of arc.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, we assigned a distance to a minute of arc. We already knew what the that the Earth was spherical, so we divided it in 360 degrees, and that's how long things are.
And they did that using the. How did they do that? What measurement?
Time distance, yeah. These people are just hopeless.
Claiming that they did it by using the polar circumference, right? That's what Wikipedia just said, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
It's
don't.
just
But I don't think that's
one
how they
meridian
actually.
arc length.
I don't think that's how they actually did it. I think
Really, that's what you think? So you think every sailor, the people that came up with it, all the institutions that use it and derived it, you don't think that's how they did it? Oh, I don't think that's right. And since I have internet cancer, I'm correct.
they used the equator. I think they used the only great circle of latitude. Not, but maybe I'm way off on that. But
Well,
that's
Yes, you're 90 degrees off on that. You are way off.
let's see. Okay, today, let me go on.
You are as off as you could possibly get.
Okay, yeah, and they call it a knot, 1 nautical mile an hour, right? Um, Well, let me see. Earth's polar circumference is very near to 21,600 nautical miles. What does that mean, a polar circumference? You mean
What do you mean? What does that mean? Are you that not smart? Polar circumference from pole to pole. Equatorial circumference would be around the equator.
the whole Earth?
Maybe we should tell you the up down circumference. How about that? Can you handle that better? The up down circumference. Goes from up to down to sideways and down and then sideways and up. Can you understand that?
Earth from the pole.
any.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So
any
they're
any
yeah, they
line
just
of
went by the equator. Yeah,
well, no, any line of longitude is a polar circumference.
yeah, yeah.
It's a which it's a
Okay,
great
so it
circle. It's
doesn't
a great
matter.
circle that goes. It's a great circle that goes through both poles on a globe.
Mm-hmm.
But lines of latitude, there's only one great circle, right? It's the
Yeah, see, that's why the lines of longitude are measured off in degrees of a circle, because every line of longitude is a circle.
equator.
I mean, they're just destroying flat Earth right now. And I'm helping.
Well, that's what they're claiming. See,
No, that's what we've measured. So it's no claim, it's no presupposition, it's no theory, as you like to say it. It's measurements. It's quantified data.
because and that
Repeatable, verifiable, debunkable.
would be derived on the idea that you're in a globe, that you're on a globe.
Well, I'm
too.
just saying, if not,
Yes, that's how you divide. That's why you divide it up into degrees of a circle. Yes. So there's no presupposition. We know that it's a globe.
nautical miles are based on degrees around a circle. Well,
Mhm.
that's degrees around Polaris.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It's degrees around the Earth, not Polaris. What are you talking about?
So they obviously came up with this distance, 6,076 feet. They came up with that based on traveling the equator around Polaris, not
Right.
traveling a great circle from pole to pole. They've never.
Yes, yes. That's exactly how it was derived. So you're taking the information and just changing it. Man, that's hella denial.
Even done that.
No, that's when that's where they started getting into some real problems. Was when they establishing the longitudes.
And that's like a whole different story. Like, because longitudes, they seem to work great in the north.
Longitudes?
But then, yeah, where it really gets messed up is in the south. Where
right. Well,
they
and the whole reasoning for that is because they bend them back around, try to say they're getting close together, but they're not.
Then why does every grid map south of the equator show the lines of longitude tapering towards south? Why?
This is why speeds seem to decrease a ship.
And the further south you go, the sharper the angle. Why?
Load in the south as opposed to in the north, and I've got a little clip about that too.
Wait, what?
Together, but they're not. This is why speeds seem to decrease a shitload in the south as opposed to in the north, and I've got a...
No, they don't. No, a boat will go the same speed south and north of the equator and take the same amount of time to get there. What are you talking about, man? Is this just another thing you're making up?
A little clip about that too.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely part. What I'm saying is, if nautical miles are based on minutes of arc around a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could be traveling in a circle, say, around the Tropic of Cancer. You could be traveling in a circle around the equator.
Right. Those are not great circles. Those are not great circles.
Right.
Or the Tropic of Capricorn. But all these circles are different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1 minute of travel is a different length at each one of these latitudes.
No, it's not. Why would it be? Why would it be a different length depending on which direction you're going? It's still the same distance, man. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
So
And this guy just agrees with him.
But I'm just a dumb flirter. I wouldn't know anything.
Good Lord, man.
to me, the whole idea of assigning a distance to a nautical mile defeats the whole purpose of having nautical miles.
Assigning a distance to a distance defeats the whole purpose of having the distance. That's what you just said. Because a nautical mile is a distance. I mean, good grief. And this guy just laughs his butt off, doesn't he?
But I'm just a dumb flirter. I wouldn't know anything.
Like why they were originally created. It's about degrees. It's
about the number of degrees that the Earth is divided up into and the length of travel it would take you to traverse one of those degrees. You are not smart at all, man. Not at all.
not about a distance.
Holy cow.
And they were only able to give it a set distance because they claimed it was a sphere. So that means this.
Right. No, there's no claim. We already knew it's a sphere. Okay? We already knew that.
Circumferences are the same. I know they say it's an oblate spheroid, so it varies slightly. But just for this conversation, let's pretend it's a perfect sphere. So every circumference is the same. So then they can assign it a fixed distance, 6,076 feet. But
yeah, that's how it works, man.
Intuitively, it just doesn't really make any sense.
Well, you think the Earth is flat, so your intuition sucks.
We're
frankly.
talking about degrees around a circle.
Right. So why did they pick the equator as the point to use, right?
They didn't. You made that up. See, you read the information and you just made stuff up. That's called gaslighting. So the title of your video is very apt.
Well,
In all reality, this would mean that the Tropic of Cancer is much bigger.
No, it wouldn't. Why would it? Draw a line from here to here. then go the same distance from here to here, down to here, and draw a line. Tell me if those lines aren't the same length. Wow.
Equator.
Well, I guess there's two things that are possible, right? Either one, the equator is actually the size they claim it is, right? And everything is based on that. Or they came up with the size of the equator and the size of the globe based on how we perceive the world, the angular resolution limit of the human eye. They took the eye and then reverse engineered it to create the size of the globe.
No, that's not at all what happened. Not at all. You just made stuff up again. Man, the dishonesty of these people is just breathtaking.
That's why they can give credit to curvature, what's actually perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Curvature and perspective are connected in this great debate on how they went from flat to curved. It's,
Yeah, exactly. And so now you see that there's we're starting to get into some questionable shit here, and you can see where it could be quite easy once you've established a coordinate system that everyone else has to go by, that we don't really have accurate maps, and it would be really quite easy to.
No, we do have accurate maps. What are you talking about? I mean, you can't take a map and navigate with that map? Are you serious?
Hide land within the known world.
Nobody's hiding any land, man. Nobody.
Even that vast area we call the South Pacific. Really kind of something to think about. Well, let's see. This is, of course, they use NM. These are just the different things they use to call it. Denote it. NM. An M is used in International Hydrographic Organization. So there's just some more shit to go ahead and make it confusing for everyone.
Oh, so they name them different things because they're different units of measure. So that's confusing to you. You just want everything to be named the same thing? Would that be less confusing to you, Bruce?
So let's see the history. The word mile is from the Latin phrase for 1,000 paces, mile passus. Navigation at sea was done by eye until around 1500, when navigational instruments were developed and cartographers began using a coordinate system with parallels of latitude and meridians of longitude. The earliest references.
Yes, meridians of longitude, circles.
Of 60 miles to a degree is a map by Nicholas Germanus. And that
so they basically said that one stride was roughly, say, 5 feet or 5.2 feet, and then there's 1,000 strides, and that's how they came up with a mile.
Right.
That's kind of old.
Yeah, I know. And who's fucking stride? Wilt Chamberlain or
whoever. Well, Wilt Chamberlain wasn't alive back then, but whoever was in power set the length of the stride. So you're not helping your case much. You really aren't.
Danny DeVito. I mean, come on, y'all.
Or Danny DeVito.
Or how about just an average person's stride? How about that? How about they take 10,000 people in the kingdom and they say, okay, everybody walk one stride, and we're going to measure them all, and we're going to divide how many people did it. And then that's going to be a stride. How about that? Fuck. Wow, morons.
Yeah. Like Wilt is striding like a nice solid 7 feet. His mile is longer than Danny DeVito's. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, he's metric.
You need a white mile and a black mile.
There you go. Right. Holy crap. So yeah, this is the map. The earliest reference to 60 miles degrees to a degree is by Nicholas Germanus. This is the map. You've probably seen that. If any of you, if you don't, I'll tell you what. Go over to the David Rumsey map collection. You Google it. It'll be David Rumsey. It'll be the first thing pops up. You can find damn near any map ever created over there, man. Really great stuff. They've got the Obrano Monte map, the 1587, and you can zoom
That
right
map's
in,
insane.
man. High res, man. Really good. But that was in a 1482 edition of Geography, Ptolemy, indicating 1 degree of longitude at the equator contained malaria 60. An earlier manuscript by Nicholas Germanus in a previous edition, blah, blah, blah. Whoa. Now see, we're getting into stadias. 1 degree longitude and latitude under the equator forms 500 stadia, which makes 62.5 miles. So whether a correction for convenience, the reason for the change from 62.5 to 60 miles to a degree is not explained. Eventually, the ratio of 60 miles to a degree appeared in English in 1555 translation of Pietro Matir di Agliera. Decades, Ptolemy assigned likewise to every degree 60 miles, which, okay, that's a quote. Ptolemy assigned likewise to every degree 60 miles. And of course, the score is 20. And I wonder why is that called that? Why did they refer to 20 as a score? I never did understand that. It says here about. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that was I have no idea why they call it a score, but I'm sure there's some crazy backstory.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember. It's like what's Lincoln talked about 4 score
And 7 years.
Yeah, so now you figure it out. It's 87 years. By the late 16th century, English geographers and navigators knew that the ratio of distance at sea to degrees was constant along any great circle, such as the equator or any meridian. Assuming that Earth was a sphere. In 1574, William Bourne, a mathematician, stated in A Regiment for the Sea the rule to raise a degree practiced by navigators. But as I take it, the rule to raise a degree? What?
Okay, so hold on, stop. So that's interesting. Geographers and navigators knew that the ratio of distance to degrees, which is what I've been talking about this whole time, was constant as long as you were going along a great circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, any route traveled in a ship is a great circle. Any distance traveled and any direction traveled.
Now, because they're assuming a globe, they have north-south, right? They have great circles of longitude.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality...
But on a flat Earth, you would never have a great circle. Ever. Never. Do you know what a great circle is? He obviously doesn't.
There is really only... a great circle doesn't really exist, but the only quote-unquote great circle there actually is the equator.
Mm-hmm.
Not on a flat Earth. There is no great circle on a flat Earth, ever. It's impossible. 100% impossible.
They obviously were using the equator because they had never even traveled far south. It would have been possible for them to use longitude to come up.
But yet, that's how they did it. So your personal incredulity is irrelevant.
With
your lack of intelligence is hysterical and irrelevant.
The distance of a nautical mile, it would have been impossible for them to do that. Unless assuming a globe.
Well, we're going to watch a couple of short.
So you don't think sailors went to the equator back in 1555? You don't think so?
Videos I've got on that.
I mean, just the hubris of these people to think that they know more than all these other people.
I'm kind of entertained with it. It's gonna
And
listen,
I
man.
sent you, I just texted you like a 5-minute video from this
Okay.
guy. I think he's a flat earther, but he's got this Australian accent, I believe, or he's got some sort of accent, and he just talks about how like nautical miles have nothing to do with and it's not exclusive at all to a globular shaped Earth, and then in fact it's the exact opposite. Like it's
Oh, it's like the exact opposite of what everyone says.
This whole thing, you're going to see there was a lot of problems behind this, and as you can see, they're going to talk about all this in this video. But you can see one of the things that they had to come up with was,
I mean, you've got all this groundbreaking information that's supposed to just blow science wide open, but none of them have published ever.
a way to tell time accurately. But still, what have you got? Are these measurements or are they calculations?
All measurements are calculated.
well, they're absolutely calculations.
Yep.
Just from the very first sentence, they said they assumed a globe, so right away it's a calculation, right?
That's what I thought was wild. It says so by the late 16th century, English geographers and navigators knew that the ratio of distance at sea to degrees was constant along any great circle, such as the equator or any meridian, assuming that Earth was a sphere. There's your big thing.
And they didn't even quite have it right, because they're saying there was only 60 miles to 1 degree. So that would make the Earth, according to like miles that we use today, and I'm not talking nautical miles, I'm talking
statute.
I mean, I guess
you got statute miles are what we use.
Yeah, but I guess they are talking nautical miles. So in this paragraph, but as I take it, we in England should allow 60 miles to 1 degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if a mile is a minute and there's 60 minutes in a degree, like how else would you do it?
Seeing these different
what am I missing? What am I missing here?
Well, you're missing all these. There's
a whole lot of brain cells.
Pointed out. I mean, even though that was more exaggerated, whose pace, whose steps, Danny DeVito or Wilt Chamberlain, right? So it says that is after 3 miles to one of our English leagues, wherefore 20 of our English leagues should answer to 1 degree. So it's like you're going from all these really crazy freaking measurements that they had in the first place. You had a guy walking 1,000 steps and another guy. I mean, how long is a foot going to be? I don't know. How big is the foot of the king? Let's do that.
Yeah, right. That's how they probably got the size of a foot, right? They used some guy's actual foot, and it was 12 inches long.
A cubit is the distance between the tip of your middle finger to your elbow.
I thought it was the distance between. I'll censor myself.
It's rough.
I was gonna say.
That's why our measurements have gotten more accurate. See, that's what happens is we get more accurate as time goes by. We standardize things. But you guys want to look at what the ancients said.
The distance between the balls and your asshole, but
it's 18. It's considered converted over by 18 inches, but it's between 18 to 22 inches. Is what what did I just say the thing was?
A cubit?
Yeah, a cubit. Yeah. So this is as you can see, there's you're going to find that there's a lot of let's see, where do we get into? Both Gunter and Aldred put forward the notion of dividing degree into 100 parts, but their proposal was generally ignored by navigators. Like, in other words, make it more accurate by have it graduated out tighter. And I could see that would be more accurate. The ratio.
So you would divide it into 100 as opposed to 60.
Yeah.
Well, go back up, but before that part, it says However, these refer to Old English mile of 5,000 feet and a league of 15.
Master Chief does not practice good trigger control. His finger is on the trigger, and it shouldn't be.
15,000 feet, relying upon Ptolemy's underestimate of the Earth's circumference. Oh, that's exactly what I said. They were underestimating the size of the Earth if they were going in 1594. But allegedly they made the first globe in 1492.
Right.
Did they have the size of the globe right, or did they have it wrong?
We knew it was a globe way back then, man. Do you think that pretty much the most powerful queen would give her 3 best ships to some guy to sail them off the edge of the earth? You think anybody would do that? We knew it was a globe, man.
They had it right in 1492, but then they had it wrong in 1594, 100 years later. That makes
No, you just don't understand what you're talking about. So you've created a straw man, and now you're arguing against that straw man.
makes perfect sense.
I know. See what I'm saying, man? And it's like, oh, show us your working map. Fuck you, bro.
Show us your working map.
Yeah, right. Now,
Yeah, let's see it. You've had 7 years to compile one. You've had over 7 years, man, and you've come up with nothing. Bupkis.
you guys see what I'm saying? And Sean Hawkins wants to laugh
Weak as water.
when I say nobody has a fucking accurate map.
No, I laugh at you because that's a ridiculous thing you say when you say that, because we do have accurate maps.
The globe. No, globe's not a map, Chief. Nobody keeps one of those in their glove box.
But we all have Google Earth and Google Maps on our phone, man.
See,
Those are both based on heliocentric math. It's written into the source code. So, more denial, more nuh-uh.
yeah, he says English geographers started to acknowledge the discrepancy between the angular measurement of a degree of latitude and their linear measurement of miles. In 1624, Edmund Gunther suggested 352,000 feet to a degree. What is that? 5? Okay, 2/3 per arc minute. In 1633, William Outred suggested 349,000.
Hold on. So 5,866.66.
Yeah. Gotta have that in there, man. Gotta have that in there.
Ooh, numbers are scary, especially numbers that look a certain way.
I wish this dog wasn't on top of me because I feel like that clown, that globetard that's got his dog in his lap all the time.
Oh shit! I always got my dog. My little CC jumps up on my lap.
What's his name? What's that guy's name? Dave something?
I don't know. I don't watch too many of them globetards. They make my ass hurt.
Can you stay away from me? She's the neediest puppy I've ever been around.
Oh,
I mean, you get butthurt when you hear the truth about reality? Is that what you're saying, Dave?
you got to see around here, man. You got to see around here these guys, and they're all jealous of each other. They're all jealous of each other.
How many do you have?
5. We got 5 little fur guys around here.
So wait, somebody was. I guess I haven't really been reading the chat, but
McKeegan? Are you talking about Dave McKeegan?
Dave McKee, yes, that guy with the awful accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't be making
That's the way he talks. You ever heard Flatzoid?
fun of accents though, because Flatzoid doesn't have a great accent.
There you go.
I like Keith's accent, man. I think it's pretty cool.
But yeah, Dave McKeegan, dude, that guy is such a tool.
A couple of them guys, like Michael Kahn and PJ. I mean, I'm glad, you know,
Now that's a couple of tools.
I can understand them real good, but somebody who's not used to that accent, they're like, what did that guy just say?
Sometimes it is hard to follow and understand.
I told him, I says, I'm glad I grew up watching Monty Python. I can understand everything you say.
That's hilarious. Peter Within said the synchronicity of the math is the loophole because ratios will be equitable. Stinky, tell him. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Click that link, bro.
Say what? What did this guy just say?
Peter Within said the synchronicity of the math is the loophole because ratios will be equitable. Stinky, tell him.
What in the heck does that mean?
Not sure exactly what that means.
Click that link, bro. Come on up. So let's see. For the notion of they wanted to divide it into 100 parts, but the proposal was generally ignored by Navigator. The ratio of 60 miles or 20 leagues to a degree of latitude remained fixed, while the length of the mile was revised to better estimates of the Earth's circumference.
So when they figured out that the Earth was bigger than they thought it was in 1594, they made the mile 280 feet larger.
Right.
Instead of 5,000, it went to 5,200, or probably close to what we use today, right?
Yeah.
Right. The number that they assigned the distance changed. The distance never changed.
It comes out to be 1.151 miles, I think. Isn't that what it said?
Per nautical mile.
Right.
No, I'm talking about statute mile. Like the old distance of a statute mile was only 5,000 feet. They had to grow the statute mile.
Oh, let's see.
And then it's saying in 1633. This is all crazy.
It is. I mean, you can see now. It gets worse.
Oh, it gets worse in the next paragraph. Read how retarded that is.
Since the Earth is not a perfect sphere, but is an oblate spheroid. Let's see, that's a highlight. Let's see, does that bring something up? Oh, there you go. That's it. How come none of the fucking pictures from NASA look like that?
Because those are gross over-exaggerations to demonstrate what an oblate spheroid is. If a sphere is 10,000 miles in radius, and you squish it down 9,999 miles, 0.99999 miles, it will be an oblate spheroid. See, you don't understand what an illustration is showing you.
I'm pretty sure if you use instruments, you could prove that the photograph from Apollo 17 shows a perfect circle.
I bet you can't. I bet you that's been done. I bet you're wrong.
It does. Absolutely.
Like down to pi. Like a perfect freaking circle. If it was oblate by, what did they say, like 12 miles or something like that, wouldn't we be able to see that?
No, you would not. That's 12 miles out of 6,000 or 12,000. That's what that is. That's 12 miles out of 12,000. That's 3 orders of magnitude.
Now it says it was slightly flattened poles. A minute of latitude is not constant, but about 1,861 meters at the poles and 1,843 meters at the equator.
They're basically saying what I'm saying, that a nautical mile is not going to be the same everywhere on Earth, except they're saying it's because it's an oblate spheroid. And not because the longitudes continue to diverge outwards from a center point, like a.
Not past the equator, they don't. Past the equator, they converge. This is provable.
A dartboard.
France and other metric companies state that in principle of nautical miles is an arc minute of meridian at a latitude of 45 degrees.
See, I mean, they don't understand half of what they're reading, and then they're making up stuff to counter the stuff that they do understand. They don't understand half of it, and the other half they're lying about it. This is sad. This is so sad.
But that is a modern justification for more mundane calculation that was developed a century earlier. By the mid, see, we're talking calculations. Where's your accurate map? Okay. By the mid 19th century, France had defined a nautical mile via the original 1791 definition of the meter. And that was defined as the length of a path traveled by light in a vacuum during the time interval of a second.
What?
That's what it says.
A
Definition of
meter? A meter is the base of a meter, meaning the length of distance we use. A meter.
Yeah.
Has been defined as the length of the path traveled by light in a vacuum during a time. Shut the fuck. What? How?
Wow, that's a good rebuttal. Shoot, you just debunked all of science with that. Yes, extremely dumb AF.
When was a meter invented?
Long before they were measuring light, I can tell you that.
Yeah, what the fuck are they talking about?
You know what a meter was taken from?
Oh my God, this just gets worse and worse as you get along.
I mean, they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. No idea. They're just completely lying about reality, gaslighting their people watching.
Into it. I'm going to put the link to this article in the chat for anybody that
This
wants.
is ridiculous. That
Really?
is just
Yeah.
so.
So it's ridiculous if it doesn't fit your narrative. Okay.
On okay, I see.
See, this is just more and more confusing as you go along. You know,
No, it's not confusing at all. It's not confusing at all, man. If you don't understand basic stuff, yeah, it will be confusing. If you're not intelligent at all, it will be confusing. If you dropped out of high school and didn't bother to get an education and learn how to analyze information presented, yeah, it would be confusing.
you know what I'm saying?
But I follow it.
Well, I'm saying, let's imagine you were standing, 10 feet from the North Pole.
Right?
Right.
Well, what would the distance of one arc minute be there?
Like a step?
A step.
10 what? No, it's the same all over the world, man. An arc minute's distance doesn't change at the North Pole. It's the same distance as it is at the equator. Okay, it's slightly different because the Earth is an oblate spheroid, but it's not that much to matter.
That's why it's ridiculous to that nautical miles come from degrees around a circle, and then you're going to set a set distance when the circumference are different, no matter how, depending on how far you are from the North Pole.
They're just not just too thick to get it, man. They're just too thick to get it.
Doesn't make any sense. Now, here's another thing. Like, what if you were standing at the exact North Pole? Well, every direction would be south.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you know which way to go if you were trying to go? If you were standing on the North Pole and you wanted to go home, how would you know which direction to go to get to North America if every direction is south?
Did this guy actually say this? Did he actually say this? Well, you take the line of meridian that intersects with North America, dummy. What are you talking about? I mean, wow. Just phenomenal.
Be hard.
I mean, I
Yeah,
imagine you would have to use the sun and the sky and
You
clocks
would.
and have an understanding of like solar noon and stuff.
Yeah, you definitely would.
But
Definitely.
the sun would rise to your left. The sun would rise in the south. Solar noon would be in the south, and then
No, it wouldn't rise in the south. It would rise in the east and set in the west. Wherever it would be south to you. But it rises in the east and sets in the west. So how could you have to look south to see it? How does that work?
it would set in the south because every direction is south.
Let me see.
Wow.
Let me
That's
just-
wild.
Real quick. Let me see. That's not that one. Here we go.
This is hilarious.
Just to kind of sum it up a little bit, this is kind of interesting, little short video, and then I want to get into some stuff here.
I mean, this is just unbelievably funny.
Let me unmute that. This is only a couple minutes long, and it kind of quickly covers over. I think this is the right one.
Coherence 777. I wonder if the etymology of the word north is somehow connected to like the word central or center. You know,
I don't know. But anyway, this is just kind of glosses over some of the longitudinal problem. You're going to see a lot of globe bullshit in here, of course, but
it's all about knowing how to translate globe bullshit onto a flat model and understanding why they came up with the bullshit. You know.
Yeah, see, it only became BS when you flattened the globe out to the flat Earth model. But there is no flat Earth model. Your AE map. See, that's what happens. It becomes BS when it becomes flat.
So while this is playing, though, I'm going to go take a leak real quick, and then I'll be right back.
On the day of the March equinox, you look up at noon and notice the sun is directly
my show now.
overhead. This means you're standing on the equator.
Right. And on the equinox, on a flat Earth, the sun would not pass directly over your head in a straight line. It would make an arc. It would, if you're looking east, it would start to your left. You'd see it to your left. And then at sunset, it would be at your right. So that debunks flat Earth right there.
But what if the sun is 52 degrees south relative to your position? Then you're 52 degrees north of the equator. Why? Because geometry. Of course, it's not that simple all year round, since the Earth's axis
Yes, geometry. You should familiarize yourself with it.
is tilted 23 degrees. The sun's apparent position at noon changes throughout the year. By the time of the June solstice, the sun is directly overhead at 23 degrees north. So you know you're 52 degrees north if the sun is 29 degrees south of your position. As you can see, determining latitude is easy. You don't even need elaborate tools to do it. Sure, it helps to have a clock to know when it's noon, but you could just as easily put a stick in the ground and see when the shadow is shortest. Sure, it helps to have a sextant to measure the sun's angle, but you could just as easily measure the length of the stick and its shadows and do the maths. And sure, a calendar also helps, but you don't need to be a genius to count the passing days. Of course, you do need to know which hemisphere you're in, but come on, no one's ever that lost. But while latitude is forthcoming, there is no easy way
Every flat earther would be.
to determine longitude. For over a millennium, the best anyone could do was choose a fixed reference point, keep track of latitude during journey, measure distance travelled, and, using the best available estimate of Earth's circumference, calculate longitude relative to the reference point. This was good enough until extensive overseas exploration became all the rage. Turns out that calculating longitude at sea is both much harder and much more essential. This is the story of the longitude problem. So, the earliest ocean navigators relied on dead reckoning, wherein longitude was determined using estimates of the ship's speed and direction. This method was highly inaccurate on long voyages out of sight of land, but Muslim scholar al-Biruni supported the idea of the Earth completing a full 360-degree rotation every day, meaning 15 degrees every hour.
That's false.
Imagine
false.
you knew the current...
No, he didn't. He didn't think
No, that's absolutely true.
the Earth was moving at all.
Al-Biruni created the flat Earth map, didn't he?
Yep.
Of that
No, he didn't. There's no flat Earth map.
1,000 years ago, right?
Yep.
Look, yeah. So there's no way that guy thought the Earth was spinning.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
But they got
More-
to slip
More personal incredulity.
that shit in there all the time. Don't forget you're spinning.
Oh, let me just segue real quick in the middle of this.
Mhm.
Because remember how they tried to use that documentary with Jaron and
Yeah.
Bob, where they picked up a 15-degree-an-hour drift
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
or whatever with their gyro and blah blah blah. I watched all the videos that you sent me in text message prior to the live stream, right?
Mhm.
And they kept saying that the Earth rotates 360 degrees every 24 hours. Like
Right.
the guy said that multiple times, but that's
Right. That would make a 24-hour day.
not even correct according to their model. According to their model, the Earth rotates 361 degrees every hour because they need that extra 1 degree. Otherwise, midnight would become noon every 6 months, right? Daytime would become nighttime. So there wouldn't even be a 15.
Yes, there is a slight difference in years. Yes. And days. So, yeah. These guys are just not smart at all and very, very dishonest. See, they're deliberately lying to gaslight their audience and because they can't handle the truth.
15-degree drift every hour, it would be slightly less than 15 degrees. So if they measured exactly 15 degrees, that would prove the flat Earth. And if they measured slightly less than 15 degrees,
The rotation of the Earth, the speed of rotation of the Earth isn't the same as the circumference of the Earth. You're mixing the two up. Stop it.
then they would prove the globe. That's something I was thinking about. They don't even understand their own model.
Mm.
No, they
Really? We don't understand our own model. Okay. I love when they say that. I really do. It shows just how desperate they are when they say that.
just jump. Well, they're very deceptive.
Hmm.
That woman that set up that thing to go out and have that placard with the stripes on it. They actually had Mark Sargent come down there. And they're out in the lake saying that
Yeah, has he deleted his channel yet? Because he said he would. He promised he would. He swore he would. But I guess he didn't because he's a dishonest deceiver and a liar.
the curve of the earth was blocking the stripes on it, and you're looking and you can see more lake beyond it. They were clearly sticking the fucking thing into the water.
Mm-mm. No, they weren't.
I mean,
Right.
it was just what a joke. They just, what did we say? Gotta lie to Glurf, right?
Really? Did you copy that? Who'd you copy that from? No originality.
Time of a fixed location. Let's call this reference time. Measuring your local time is straightforward. Thus, you can easily calculate your longitude relative to the fixed location. So really, you just need to somehow determine the reference time. In the early 16th century, Werner proposed measuring the position of the moon relative to the background stars. A century later, Galileo proposed using the orbital periods of Jupiter's 4 brightest satellites as a universal clock. Later still, Halley proposed using lunar
Oh, so the sky is a clock. Oh, cool.
occultations and applices. All of these methods were time-consuming, and all of them were difficult to perform at sea. But surely the solution is obvious, right? Just use a clock to keep track of the reference time.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, pre-battery clocks weren't very accurate. The best timekeepers available were pendulum clocks, and those didn't work well at sea. Then, in 1707, disaster struck, and over 1,500 people died because navigators couldn't determine their longitude accurately. So the British Parliament established a system of rewards that would make a very wealthy man out of whomever solved the longitude problem first.
Well, can't remember his name. Williams?
All proposed solutions were to be assessed by the official board.
Can't remember his name.
The race was on. So, naturally, they were quickly bombarded with improbable new ideas. One frequently suggested concept was that of the marine chair, a stable viewing platform for observing the moon and stars. Many designs have been submitted, none of which actually worked. Another idea was that of a marine mileometer that would measure distance travelled in water, somehow ignoring ocean currents. There was some talk of special glasses that would make the stars visible during daytime, or the ship could have a dog on board that would be magically injured daily by someone back home, causing it to yelp at noon reference time, or maybe just set fire to London so you can see it from afar. Whatever works. In the end, the best solution came from carpenter and clockmaker John Harrison, who spent a lifetime perfecting his marine chronometer, a timepiece that would remain sufficiently accurate at sea. In the following century,
Harrison built clocks out of wood. He was a farmer. One of the clocks that he built out of wood is still running.
It became common practice for ships to adjust
That's how good he was.
their chronometers when in harbour. To facilitate this, major ports adopted time balls to be dropped every day at precisely 1 p.m. The usage of time balls became widespread throughout the world, and thus the longitude problem, the greatest scientific challenge of its time, was finally solved. The Longitude Prize was not the first inducement reward in history. It wasn't even the first one offered to solve the longitude problem, but it was unprecedentedly large, which is why it was so
I mean, this doesn't even go into the clock, how the clock worked.
successful. Thus, in 2014, the Longitude Committee has reconvened to launch a new prize, this time focused on the greatest scientific challenge of our time, the rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. With a reward of £10 million, let us hope the Longitude Prize will make history once again.
Yeah, he didn't even get into how the clock was built and how it operated. How the pendulum was created from bimetal, two different kinds of metals, so that any kind of thermal expansion on the metal would shrink the other one and keep it in balance. It's an amazing, it's a freaking amazing device.
So you can see there was a big problem. That guy Harrison, he did come out with this clock. It was they have one. You can actually see it working. I got a little short 30-second video just showing the same.
If I had a machine shop, I'd make one.
Clock, that clock. This was the one that was developed, because you can imagine a spring clock is going to start losing time as the spring gets weaker, right? You've got the pendulum clock, of course, on a rocking ship, and that was interesting. They actually had tried to come up with some kind of a, boy, if they'd only figured out a gyroscope, they would have been able to have a level viewing platform, right? I mean, I wonder why that wasn't implemented. But in any case, this is what they ended up coming up with, was this.
Let me see. Candle clocks and hourglasses. Verge escapement was 1275. Later developments: the invention of the mainspring in the early 15th century. The mainspring was devised in the early 15th century. That'd be 1400s clock towers in Western Europe. The invention of the mainspring in the early 15th century, a device first used in locks and for flintlocks and guns, allowed small clocks to be built for the first time. The need for an escapement mechanism that steadily controlled the release of stored energy led to the development of two devices. The stack freed, which, although invented in the 15th century, can be documented no earlier than 1535, and the fusee, which first originated from the medieval weapons such as the crossbow. There's a fusee in the earliest surviving spring-driven clock, chamber clock from 1430. So why didn't they use a spring clock at sea? The first accurate timekeepers depended on the phenomenon known as harmonic motion. So evidently the mainspring wasn't accurate enough to tell time with clocks back then. So
yeah, there we go.
I mean, it's not real difficult to figure stuff out, man. I mean, if you'd not dropped out of school, you would have learned how to analyze information critically and to determine whether something is right or wrong. And you didn't learn that. That's why you're a flat earther. You just accept everything uncritically because you haven't learned that skill. Did he? Holy crap. Where? Where did he say that?
Little flywheel right here. It's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. But hey, through necessity is where we get these inventions, and they say necessity is the mother of invention. But anyway, we had, let's see, is this the one? Yeah. Galileo's navigation moonshot. So again, longitude. Longitude has been a problem, and it's
Oh, is he on the show later? Okay, I see.
tightly controlled.
Or in the
So
chat.
what you find out that they've actually done is just taken the longitude from the north, used the equator as a reference point, and mirrored it.
Mirrored it? No, that's not how meridian lines work.
And we're going to see some stuff about that because they really had a is this the one right here?
See, you idiots took the constant line, the infinite lines of meridian and flattened them out. That's what you did. It doesn't make any sense when they're flattened out.
On Antarctica Secrets. Yeah, let me go into that one first. This is toward the end. This was by Robot Polisher, and toward this portion of the video, I found where they were talking about these races that go on in the South and these speeds that are recorded. Now, of course, we know the only way that there you go. Let me put.
What do you think of this thing?
That's pretty cool. What is that exactly?
Wouldn't work on a flat Earth because these degrees are a linear function.
I don't even know. I found it in my grandmother's house though, but you can see how it's got the angles.
Yeah.
It's got the
Looks
zodiac.
Like zodiac on the outer ring.
On the outer ring, and then this inside ring, and it all like look, it flattens out too. So
wow. We need to figure that thing out.
this is some like ancient like
Yeah, we'll get there. Hey, Metallica.
Middle East crap. It's got a
I did say hello to you too, Real Sickness, didn't I? I thought I did. You've been here like for a while.
compass in the middle too.
Yeah, well, that is obviously some kind of a navigational device.
I looked
And
it
if
up on
you're
eBay. It goes for like $200-$300 on eBay.
really,
That thing? No, that's about a $15 thing you'd get from Wish.
what did they say it was? I mean, does it get?
I don't even remember. Like I'm not even sure they knew.
Huh? That
But
is it.
it's been in my grandmother's house for years, and then she gave it to me, and I was like, yeah, I was like, this has obviously got something to it.
I have a actual
It's a sundial.
Torricelli barometer in the other room. It needs to be repaired, but it's still got the mercury, but it's somehow developed some bubbles in the mercury. Somebody disrupted it or something, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But those go for about $800. Came out of a house that somebody had to clean out because they were going to tear it down. Anyway, I saw this on Robot Polisher.
Not everybody can be the robot polisher.
You watch him?
I love that channel, dude.
That dude's got some great videos.
He's got some good editing skills, my man.
He
Oh
does.
my god.
He does. But this was part of one that was out today.
He's very intellectually dishonest, too. No wonder these guys like him.
The Antarctica Secret, The Truman Show, and he exposed some stuff from Stu Peters. Stu Peters has been being a beast on fucking Flat Earth recently. Really throwing some shit out there.
Come on.
And there's another one that a lot of people, he's got a big, huge platform, and now he's out there talking the Earth's flat. We've been lied to, blah, blah, blah. So
point him out to me, which guy that is.
Obvious to everybody that it's not being done out of sheer curiosity. It's being done in order to control and to conquer.
I like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
Mapping the world was the first
Yeah, they think that the Truman Show is real life.
step to conquering it. Antarctica.
Same way with the Matrix. They deny science, but they believe in the Matrix and the Truman Show.
The mysterious massive continent that nobody is allowed to explore.
When you type in Antarctica from space, that is what they show you.
And why is it I can show you the South Pole and the North Pole.
You don't think anything's weird about the fact that the satellites don't go over the assumed North Pole or South Pole, that there's no actual imagery from space satellites of the North and South Pole, but then they show us the North and South Pole of Jupiter? You don't think that it's weird that we just get cartoons?
After sailing over 60,000 miles along the Antarctic coastline, Captain Cook was never able to complete the journey around the ice continent, which is supposed to be just under 12,000 miles around. Neither was James Clark Ross or the British ship Challenger. Many so-called flat earthers claim that these attempts failed because Antarctica is actually a massive ice barrier that surrounds the flat surface of the Earth. The azimuthal equidistant projection map, produced by the U.S. Geological Survey, has been used for centuries for the fact that all directions or azimuths are correct and all distances are at true scale.
All right, used as nothing more than an example to show you what continents are there and for what longitude you're at. So it has no navigational purpose at all.
Studying this map, one can clearly see how man has been able to accurately circumnavigate the Earth on a flat plane model.
See, that's not circumnavigation of the Earth.
And if it is in fact accurate, then it explains why after 60,000 miles, nobody has been able to completely circumnavigate Antarctica.
Yeah, they have. They have a race around it, man. That's not Antarctica. That's a distortion of Antarctica because that's what you get when you flatten out a globe to a disc. Just total insanity, man.
To this day, the public is strictly prohibited from traveling below the 60th southern parallel.
No, they aren't. You liar. See, this guy is just a liar. People go there all the time, man. 1,500 people go there a year.
Anything below
We just gotta light a flurf.
the 60th south parallel is referred to as the Antarctic Treaty Area. What does that mean?
You have to get permits. You cannot privately and freely explore there. You can't just go down there and start exploring. That's literally.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You have to get the right paperwork to go, but you can go down here and walk out on the ice, man. Knock yourself out. Just tell us who your next of kin are.
A lie to claim that you can. You know, you can go on a approved guided tour, but you have to get a permit to explore.
What's the problem? Well, the things we are missing with their food chain.
And we've got to do something about it. We should just depend on all.
Have you ever tried? You ever tried getting a permit or inquiring about what you need to go there? Or are you just listening to what other flat earthers tell you?
Green harvesting airplanes are prohibited from flying over the icy continent.
Right, because there's no place to refuel. See, airlines they're limited to how long it takes to get to fuel. And if something is so out of the way that you can't get there and get to where you need to go without running out of gas, then you don't go there.
What are they hiding?
1 billion people found out.
Also, there's strict regulations on insulation, the way the engine's tuned, whether it can withstand extreme cold weather, because it's really cold in the air, especially over Antarctica. So you're not smart at all. You don't bother to research anything at all, because you know what research does. It destroys your paradigm.
Tomorrow, that they can all go to outer land space and visit other tribes, civilizations, and explore technology and animals. The whole system would crumble. If there's more resources, natural resources.
Is that a porn? Is that a gay porn star?
Out tomorrow, that they can all go to outer land space and visit other tribes, civilizations, and explore technology and animals.
Oh no, that's Teabag Stew. That's Teabag Stew. He'd look right at home with a harness with a ring on the front of it. Assless chaps.
The whole system would crumble. If there's more resources, natural resources, if there's more food for our starving children, if there's more space, more room for us to get away from the child sex trafficking, if there's places where we can go and other civilizations we can be a part of, where they don't charge you for water, they don't charge you for free energy, they don't charge you for property taxes. All these corrupt systems that are stealing money from us, kidnapping our children, they rely upon the cattle staying on the ranch, the slaves onto the plantation.
Truman! No! That's off limits!
What's happening?
Nothing. It's dangerous, that's all.
You've got to know your limitations.
We're flying because there's an energy field all around us that you can tap into, but we don't need fuel, we don't need electrical grids, we don't need any of that. The way that they
Well, do it. Do it. Tap into that energy field, man.
fly their UFOs is they take advantage of that. Using electrical vehicle propulsion, they know that there's an ether. Tesla said he knew how to make UFOs. The Germans said they knew how to make UFOs. Ancient Vedic text makes reference to UFOs.
Most of those people got in those UFOs and went to these outer lands. They've been out there for years. They're further advanced than us, and now they're coming back and they're observing us. And of course, the government can't let us know that, because if we ask them, where did you come from? And they say 6,000 miles that way, we go, what? That's Antarctica. No, on the other side.
Yeah, if there's more land, I mean, why wouldn't they lie?
So this is a map that's 1,000 years old, supposedly.
Wow. Holy crap. This is what is in these people's heads. Hey, hold my pocket. Gee whiz.
Here, you'll see it's got the map of the Earth in here, and then you've got all these continents outside here.
There's also
Right, because someone did a drawing like that, but that's not reality. Not at all, man.
the navigator William Morris, we've heard it says that there's over 179 other pieces of land that are inhabited, but they know about us. They call us the inner
Well, he is an idiot. Why are you listening to idiots?
lands. Now, that sounds crazy. It's speculation.
Oh, because you're a gullible person.
I don't know, but...
And you're a grifter, and a gaslighter, and a con man.
That is a very interesting thing that they was highly connected. His daughter writes about it. They claim that it's a very real thing, that there's tons of land when you go further south. I don't know if there is or not, but you would have to agree. If there was a lot more land...
I don't know if there is or not, but you have to agree on what? There is no outer lands. Antarctica is not a big ring. It's just not. We have aerial photographs of it, doofus.
And there was a sinister group of people that wanted to control you, which is evident that that exists. If they drew a circle around you like the Hunger Games and said you can't leave your little playpen, that obviously makes them way more powerful, right? Like way more powerful because they can monitor.
Makes who way more powerful? Who is this they that's hiding this stuff? And why aren't they there?
you. They know exactly where you're going. You've removed innovation and exploration.
I mean, if there was a place where it's so much nicer than here, where everything's free and milk and honey flow in the rivers, they would be there already. They would not stick around here, man.
And you just have a group of slaves sitting here consuming fuel and killing each other and eating toxins and not exploring anywhere. We can all have, thousands.
Eating toxins. Yeah, Witsit thinks that eating meat is bad because the Bible says you can't. He's one of those who's never read the Bible where it gives you directions on how to prepare meat so it's kosher.
Of acres of land to ourselves, the whole system crumbles. The entire system crumbles. Period. You've been conditioned your entire life. It's okay to lie. It's okay to be lied to. So when the lie comes out, people just say, hey, okay, whatever. Got to turn on my Fox News. Got to go to the bar. Got to go watch my football. Give them.
As long as I got my Cheetos.
No, I don't watch Fox News or football. I spend most of my time watching science videos.
Bread and circuses, and they will never revolt.
Let's say you have a slave who's actively trying to find their freedom but doesn't know where the door is. That's not great if you're a slave owner.
At least he's not wearing his hat. That would have been funny. All hat, no cattle is what he is. Hey, RT96.
Right? So you'd much rather have a slave that knows exactly where the door is, can leave anytime they want, and choose not to.
Think about this. So the boat that did the...
I hate to say he didn't see it. Oh, it was cloudy. We didn't see it. They drugged us. Them.
The Bendy Globe got the records for going around or whatever. Those guys, they tell you they're going around Antarctica. How do you know that? Explain.
Because they navigate their path is plotted by GPS, transmitted back to people. That's how you know.
So those boats, they go around, they do their whole little trip, they get back, they do the
How do we know you're not? How do we know you're honest?
calculations, and they come out that they were doing 4 knots. Okay.
This is important. Do their calculations and find out they were doing 4 knots.
On average.
That's a little over 4 miles an hour. Okay. How's that?
That's 4 times 1.852.
That's possible.
4 knots for the world record of going around the southern hemisphere. When the boat, go look up the boat does 35 knots. Guess what? There's a current that goes west to east of 2 knots. So how is it that boats magically slow down to 4 knots? And it'd be like me telling you I broke the world record for driving a car. Like, really, how fast did you go? Like 45 miles per hour? You'd be like, what are you talking about? Cars go way faster than I go. Oh, they didn't in my race.
But if all the other cars go 40, then you win, right? Jaron really is a dishonest piece of crap.
So wait, look, here's the world record in the north. It's going 220. And you're like, no, but dude, I set the world record in the south. It's 45. In our paradigm, the south is way big.
Do you know what path they took? Just dumb. Let's...
Sure. Right? And what a coincidence that the world record of the boats is way faster in the north than in the south. But it would make
the stuff I go through for you guys.
Since if they assume a globe, so they assume a symmetrical distance in corresponding northern and southern latitudes, right? And so then they do their little race, they assume that distance, and they're taking way longer to do it, and they're like, what's going on? That must mean we're going way slower. Or they're actually going fast, just like the boats always do. They're going further than they think they are. So they assume the shorter distance of the globe, and they get a shorter.
And we only believe this because there's an accumulation of evidence like this, the undersea cables. Why is it that the undersea cables do not cross the Southern Ocean? So what can happen is if we took this and bent it, you get into a flat Earth map, right? Take like one of these maps and bend it to a flat Earth map. Well, if you did that, you wouldn't break any of the undersea cables.
Here, why don't you pause it?
So there's no cables, no cruises. The planes go way too slow. All those things are just, you just like it. It's okay with you.
Flat Earth is the most important.
I mean, it's really making my brain hurt. I mean, these people are unbelievably ignorant.
The most important knowledge we can obtain. You have to have permission to do everything.
And that's pretty much what I wanted to show with that was.
No, you don't.
What they were talking about with those records. 4 knots?
Yeah, dude. I did a stream a couple weeks ago where I did basically 20 reasons that we know. 20 reasons why I believe in the AE map. And a lot of it has to do with the asymmetry of the South, the size of the South, the fact that those undersea cables don't connect through the South. Did you hear what Jaron said? All those.
So? Why would they need to connect cables, telecommunication cables, under Antarctica? Why?
Those undersea cables that we have on Earth, they all connect through the north. So when you convert the...
Yes, because that's where the people are that are using them. instead of just, I don't understand this, so this.
Globe to a flat Earth, none of those cables get broken. All travel routes work that way.
So no cables get broken?
It's the speed of these sailboats in the South.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're not actually going that slow.
No.
They just think that they're going shorter distances than they actually are. Correct? Am I saying that right?
Well, they're going further.
They're actually traveling further than what they would, assuming a globe.
So they're like, oh, well, we must, and that's the whole thing. It's calculated. It's not actual. That's the.
What are you talking about? All measurements are calculated. Let me see. The circumference of a circle is 3 times pi, right? Or pi times the radius. Yeah, pi r squared is the circumference. So 6,000 times 3.14.
6,000 times 3.14 is 18,840.
18,840 miles. That's the circumference of the flat Earth at Antarctica. So, how far did they go? How long did it take them?
That's part of it too. So there again, so the shit in the South finding themselves continuously off course, calculating where they're at and finding out that they was only going 4 knots. That's
square is area.
Ridiculous. But that's because
I'm not really awesome at math. I know a little bit. I know mathematical survival skills, put it that way.
Done exactly what the drawing you sent me, the little
For everything else, I got my Boy Scout manual.
Video of how they just took that AE.
Be right back.
What they did was they took that equatorial line and then just mirrored everything. They just
when you do that, they had to slightly stretch the north and then compress the south, and that's where magnetic declination actually comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how you disappeared. You glitched like NASA.
It's how you doing, Roger?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. But
you got something to add, Roger?
Well, yeah, I have a 1600 map of the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
by a French
No, magnetic declination. That's not where that comes
go
from.
In great detail of how they did the map and how they explored when they did it. There's tons of these kinds of things. They don't show you everything. They want you on the ball, dude. That's all I got to say.
Well, somewhere here I've got. Now here's another thing too. People say, "Oh, well, you can go." Now here's the thing. You heard about this final experiment?
Oh yeah.
You're talking about okay. And these people that got invites to go, and this is going to be supposedly December 14th of this year. How much do you think? It's 5 days, and this isn't including your hotel, getting there, all that other shit. This is just for the whole thing. 5 days. How much do you think?
I heard it was 15,000 to take a trip.
Keep going.
Oh, this is the Antarctic trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got advertisement for that. It was like 18 to 25 grand.
$31,495.
Yeah, anybody can go to Antarctica. Just mortgage, get a second mortgage on your home.
I'm gonna break into my bank account and just cash in on it, man. Go.
Use dark money.
Teabag Stu had 300,000 to put toward the truth. Hit him up.
Money.
Oh yeah.
I wish I had dark money.
There it is. It says, embark on a journey to the remote interior of the Great White Continent. Antarctica is a land of extremes, and only a select few have the opportunity to visit the highest, driest, windiest, coldest continent on Earth. Immerse yourself in the ultimate wilderness, surrounded by pristine views, untouched spaces, and profound silence.
Nice.
Look at there. 31,000.
Do you think it's the windiest because it's the closest to the dome?
I don't know, man. I don't know that it is the windiest. Okay, this is TBD.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Maybe it's not as cold. Maybe it's not as cold and harsh as they claim it is.
You know, well, listen, we showed a thing here the other day about that, where it was actual stuff from.
Wouldn't it be great if all this Monopoly money was real?
From Bird's expedition, and they found temperate waters and areas with.
No, they didn't.
It's a huge area with no snow. They show it.
No, they didn't.
This shit, man. Big mountains of fucking coal and shit.
Wow, you are gullible.
Insane. And
oops,
shortly
sorry.
after that, that's when they go up into space. That's where we need to be. Fuck, don't look to the south. Don't worry about that. And I've got a sci-fi movie talking about that. This sci-fi movie, a B-grade sci-fi movie. It came out not long after this expedition.
Science fiction is not real. Hence the word fiction. See, that's what sci-fi stands for. It's short for science fiction, not real,
And his
not citable.
disclosure, I guess you'd want us to call it, on the Longines Hour, the talk show, where everybody plays the clip of him saying, "There's more land beyond Little America," you know. So anyway, the gist of this movie was they were picking up where Bird left off, and they were going to the south, and they had warm weather gear packed, as did Bird's expedition. And
Right, because Admiral Byrd didn't just go down to Antarctica. He also went up around the equator. You guys showed this path. You think once they left around the equator, they headed south? They just threw everything away?
they ended up going further south and found a tropical area, and there was like creatures and dinosaurs and shit like that, you know. So
Yeah, see, that's a movie. That's fiction. See, science fiction. There's a difference between fiction and reality. The Matrix is fiction. The Truman Show is fiction.
suggesting more land in Antarctica.
The Flat Earth is fiction.
And whew, after that, all the rest of the sci-fi movies, nobody ever did anything more like that. Just going into the Earth or out into space.
Have you ever read Land Beyond the Pole?
No, I don't believe I have.
Well, it's a nice little book, but it has a few sections that are like documents in it, and the Navy went down further, 1,700 miles past the continent of Antarctica, past the South Pole, and they were finding other lands they documented.
No, they didn't. Not at all. That's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what Bird. I've heard that reported, and there's ancient reference.
Well, that was after Bird, and they actually really did this. It was a Navy expedition. They used the.
No, there was no Navy expedition where they went past Antarctica into undiscovered lands. Never happened. You're a liar.
And blimps to do it. They were, but they can only go so far. You got to stop, and they had to build bases pretty much, and they had to get resources so they could actually get further, because it's not like a place you can stop and fuel up again or get food.
Right.
You got to pack so much. They kept going. They said they returned because it was just getting too hard to explore.
Right.
Roger Ledwell is a feckless liar.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do for food? What do you do for you have to have a supply chain of some kind going on.
Well, that's how we won the West to start with. So I mean, why can't we do it in the South?
Yeah, absolutely, RT.
We can just go.
We can. They just don't want us to.
Go for it, man. Go to Antarctica. Set out walking. Set out walking. Look for those undiscovered lands. I'm sure it's going to start getting warmer the closer you get to those lands, right?
Pretty sure they do a lot of stuff, man, that they don't tell us about. And I was watching a couple of news feeds from Russia.
So where does the firmament stop? Where does the dome end? Is it at Antarctica, or is it further?
Icebreakers that were down in Antarctica about a month ago, and there were just nothing but ice. But they were breaking through it, and they were claiming it's melting. That's where they were going. They were making reports and sending them. They were posting on YouTube, actually. Yeah. So it's possible to get, if you get through there and you can get to the main land. I'm pretty sure they could set up bases, and we could travel further out south for miles and miles and miles, man. Just keep going. You can probably find a whole bunch of stuff.
It's gonna break out soon. I mean, it's already we're at a tipping point, flat Earth right now.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why they made the Game of Thrones thing, just to scare people too, away from stuff. Yeah. No, we don't need to go down there. They're more like.
No, Game of Thrones isn't real. That's another work of fiction. See, that was taken from a series of books that were written by some dude.
People beyond the wall.
Well, wait a second. Wait.
Wow.
Game of Thrones.
I mean, these people actually think this stuff is real. I mean, how do you deal with that with minds this broken?
Looked like to me that it was warlike people on the northern portion of on the other northern side of the wall. Aren't we on the northern side of the wall? Maybe that wall's there. Maybe that whole not going to Antarctica is their idea, not ours.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's their immigration policy, not ours. They're basically, maybe they're like, you keep those fucking idiots up there. If you come through here, you're gonna have a problem. You know,
Western folks aren't welcome down south.
you know, they don't want no northerners. They don't want us wildlings in their area.
Well, yeah.
So this was one. This kind of puts it in. I found these little two-part thing that kind of sums this up really well. What we were talking about, where they had to come up with this accurate type of timekeeping, because after all, like we said, it's already bad enough to try to make calculations based on observations of distant objects from a moving platform that isn't necessarily sitting still, and calculate where your position's at. Is that going to be 100% accurate? Absolutely not.
It's accurate enough to navigate by. See, that's why you take that's why you say mark when you take your reading. You have somebody looking at your clock, at your chronometer, and you get your reading, and as soon as you get that reading, you say mark. So you've got your angle set at a time. That goes into the log, that goes into your sight reduction, along with your estimated dead reckoning from the last place you were at. Then you take your height above water, you do your dip correction for the correct atmospheric conditions, temperature, and air pressure. And that's how you find your way. You're not smart, man.
So we have to really, it's really interesting to look into how this whole coordinate system was actually set up. Who controls?
Did I get that right? I think I did.
Controls it. And some of the problems you're going to see that when these idiots come up and say, you know, show us your map. Where's your flat Earth map?
Yes. You can't debunk all of science with your words. You have to have evidence. Why are you so against having to present evidence?
Okay.
They all are. They're all.
I mean, if the Earth was flat, you should be able to present a flat map that represents it accurately. Why the hesitation, man? I mean, it's all you got to do. Present a flat map that works. And it will shut every one of us up.
Man,
I mean, they're always saying that. I'm like, look, there are no accurate maps, okay? And you are...
Right. No, all flat maps are inaccurate. But yet, we can navigate using Google Earth, which is a spherical map. Funny how that works. So you've admitted that flat Earth maps don't work. They're inaccurate. They do not represent reality.
Are ignorant because you don't understand why. Okay.
For Brian's logic, he's actually in the fourth part of redoing the map. He's trying to get a real accurate one, and what they're using is the ephemeris is the last part of this phase. They're using the moon to time the rest of the further map.
The ephemeris? Okay. You know what that's based on?
Yeah, that's one of the methods. That's one of the methods they tried to use.
Yeah, well, that's what we're looking at now. And Adam Meakin, he's a mathematician, and he's actually timing where the moon's going to be.
No, Adam Meakin is not a mathematician. Adam Meakin is a pharmacy manager.
That far out, and he said it's amazing what he's looking at, but it's really hard to get a real good fix on it because they move. The sun and the moon, they do move. Yeah, they've got the sun.
Yes, because the Earth spins. It's the rotation of the Earth causing it to look like they move.
Nailed down here in the north with their Greenwich time, and that's what they run it off of. They run it straight off Greenwich time, and they use 90-degree declinations from Polaris to build that latitude grid or longitude grid.
Say what? They use 90-degree declinations. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, and the ephemeris is based on the latitude. So the moon controls, that's what they mapped it off of, and that's what Adam's going through and redoing it all. And they're putting the continents as they are in the places where they should be, instead of being all distorted like they are in the south. The north isn't that bad. It's kind of bad. Anything that they release to the public, all these, like the Gleasons and the rest of those, they can be accurate for some things.
So you're going to change the longitude of all the continents just to suit you? To make them look like they're closer and farther? What are you doing, man? Continents don't move longitude. They stay put.
Like completions is accurate for what the solstices, where the sun's going to be at during the cycles. But that's why he's going for the ephemeris, so he can get further away from the north. And from what we can tell, the moon and the sun, from math shows, and even their shadows, the amount of light they get, they're at the same distance, man. They're not further away than they say. Even the moon's light itself creates the same shadows for clocks. You can actually take a sundial and put it with the moon and get the same time you do with the sun.
You sure about that? Are you sure about that?
And that's how the older civilizations did it. They used the dials to map with.
Actually, for them, they used another method.
No, we don't use sundials to map with. They never did.
At nighttime by lining Polaris and its relative position to Kachuk, I think it's one of the stars in the Big Dipper, in the tail of it, and then using an astrolabe, they were able to determine the time. At night,
I want to get a hold of that device, the new one that they found. They're rebuilding the one they what was it called? The one they found in the Mediterranean.
The Antikythera.
Yeah, it shows sun and moon. That's what I was talking about. Like they actually show where the sun and moon is actually going to be at.
Yep.
With that, they don't even take the Earth into account for anything for time. It's just the sun and the moon, dude.
Right.
That's
So this video, this is pretty good. We'll stop it occasionally as it's going on, but this will really give you an idea as to how far away is the sun. Well, it depends on where you are on Earth and what time of day it is. That's exactly right, Dr. Bass. Absolutely. So let's watch this with no further ado.
GPS is essential to our modern world. It is imperative to us that we know exactly.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
I get that problem all the time. Have you ever looked at Taboo Conspiracies boat speed video?
Exactly where we are in the world.
There you go.
There we go.
World at all times, if only to figure out which street we need to turn on next. However, there was a time before this, a time when we had to use more analog methods of finding where we were in the world. But there was a time even before that where we didn't know how to find where we were. And that caused problems.
Sounds like it.
And those problems took centuries to solve. And here we are in the center of the northwestern hemisphere to tell it. First of all, let's review the coordinate system that we use to map our world. Latitude measures where you are north to south in lines that go all the way around the globe, circles. Longitude is a different beast. Longitude measures where you are from east to west with lines that go only halfway around the world.
No, longitude lines go around, make a complete circle. What are you talking about?
Now, latitude is incredibly easy to find. All you do is you take something to measure an angle. A sextant, you're guessing, anything. And you measure your angle between you and the North Star, if the camera's north. Or in the Southern Hemisphere, the Southern Cross. That is your line.
In the Southern Hemisphere, the Southern Cross?
No, you don't measure to the Southern Cross. You measure to the southern rotational point in the south.
I'm going to have to call bullshit on that one.
You hear how we just kind of threw it in there with no confidence and then tried to move on real quick?
Yep.
That was like a 90-degree angle right there to me.
I mean, it's like, okay, that's just a cover for how do you gauge it from Polaris once you get past the equator? Well, you have to have something, right? No.
You don't. You don't.
Well, if that was true, then the rest of what you're going to tell us in this video wouldn't have been necessary.
But on flat Earth, you would have to, because there's no southern rotational point on flat Earth.
That's. I'm just going to leave it at that. You'll see it.
Longitude, your latitude. Screw it, keeping it in. Longitude, however, is different. When you're measuring longitude, you don't have any landmark like that, anything in the sky that doesn't move. And so you need to get a bit more creative. With this lack of solar landmarks to use to find longitude comes another one. Because the largest solar landmark on our planet is the sun. And there was one very simple...
Well, that would make it a solar landmark then, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of a redundant statement, wasn't it? The biggest solar landmark we have is the solar. Okay.
He's talking down to us now.
I think he's high. I think he's a little bit high.
Yeah.
That's a good
he's
basically all the longitude prize was about was the best way to figure out how far you are from London, England.
Tweaking. Look at his body movements.
I mean, that's what it boils down to. How far you are from London, England. Greenwich Mean Time. We can already get our circle of equal altitude of any star in the sky at that point. We needed to know where on that circle of equal altitude, where those intersect, because they're always going to intersect like this. So you want to know if you're here or here.
What's he really got going on in that corn patch? Big meth lab back
there.
He's doing the Doofus lean.
Where is he at today, right?
Simple thing that you could use to find longitude. Solar time. If you know
Wow.
the longitude of one place, say the port you're leaving, and you know the time there.
I can't deal with this anymore, man. I just can't. I mean, this is just the title "Gaslight Coordinates with Guest" is very, very, very accurate. Well, here's where Flatzoid comes in. So let's hear what kind of ignorant shit he has to put out. Ignorant stuff. Sorry.
What's that noise?
Somebody's frying something? Are you frying something?
Sorry, I thought I was on mute.
No, I was wondering what that was. It sounded like bacon cooking or something. There's Flatzoid. What's going on, brother? My brother from another mother.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Wow.
Good.
You have a good birthday for the wife?
How's Stinky?
So we got we've been talking about these coordinate lines and how they were figuring these longitudes, and how these ships in the south seem to go slower for some reason. They're carrying the mail, but they're only doing 4 knots.
Weird.
Isn't that weird?
So then they were wondering why the distances don't really
Carrying mail? No, that's a race around Antarctica. They weren't carrying mail, man. That's not the purpose of that race. Does he think that those were mailmen? Mailmen that were on those boats with sacks of mail? Wow.
match up to the times they travel.
Right. And they don't have a decent answer for it. I can tell you that. But this guy's kind of going into it.
No, we've explained to you why, everything about that race. But nuh-uh, right?
Going into about how they had to come up with an accurate way to try to keep time. In order to do that, I mean, especially when you get into the South, you don't have a fixed reference point. And Flatzo, you're in the South. Is there a Southern Cross? Is that thing like stationary that you can guide?
No, it moves across the sky, just like you would have something moving around Polaris. It would also move across the sky around Sigma Octantis.
So do you see Sigma Arcantis? Like,
no.
Still, then do you think that's just the same thing?
To see it, you have to really, not where my locations, you won't see it though, but further down you'll see it, and then you'll have to have quite long exposure to be able to see it faintly. It's very, very, I would say it's almost like a made-up point.
Yeah.
So you can't really navigate with it, huh?
No, we only use the Southern Cross to navigate here. We don't use
But
like
there
a
again,
Southern
that's
Star.
on it because it moves. Then you've got that. You have to know the time as to where that relative position is.
Exactly.
At, too, right?
Exactly.
Because this is the problem they ran into, I guess, until this Harrison guy came up with the clock. But by then, they'd already decided they were going to have it be a globe, and so they were tightly controlling these coordinates. Absolutely, I believe it's apparent that they just took that equatorial line and mirrored everything over onto the other side. That's all.
No, that's not what happened. They just can't admit that the Earth is a globe. It's impossible for them.
Yep, and this.
I mean, just everything they read, everything they've talked about tonight explains how it's a globe. But they're like, no, I'll never believe it, because that's the people trying to force you into education.
This is why when you get the people saying, "Oh, how do you see the southern? This looks south at the same time." For everybody, it's just position based because the Southern Cross moves around.
No, see, the problem is, Mouse, is, if I can find it, GeoGebra. Well, go there. Don't just give me a link to it. See, the problem you run into is, oops, try this again. Put one guy there, put one guy there, and put the other guy here. See, the problem you run into is this person here is looking this direction, due south, right? North is behind him. He's looking due south. This is his direction. It's like an arrowhead. This guy here is looking due south, this direction. And this guy is looking due south in that direction. How is that possible? How is that possible? It's not. Completely impossible. But yet they all see the same thing. They all see the same thing. This guy will see the Southern Cross. This guy will see the Southern Cross. This guy will see the moon when he sees it. If he's back up here, right? How did he do that? Actually, the moon thing is irrelevant. But how do they see the same southern stars? So they'd have to be duplicates, right? Oh, but not all three could see at the same time. Okay, how do two people standing opposite directions, looking opposite directions, see the same stars? How does that happen? See, those two people will see the same stars, and then this person won't be able to see it anymore, but then this guy will. They'd see the same stars, but yet they were over here, but now they're here and here. And then they're here and here, but not here. Doesn't work. It's physically impossible. But you know how it does work? You want to know how it does work? Like this. Hey, where'd it go? Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works. Mouse, Dave, Stinky, Roger. They're looking due south, all of them, and they're seeing the same thing.
The south, so it's
This is the underside of a globe.
in different positions at the same south.
Right.
Is the Southern Cross really bright?
Yes, yeah, that's quite good. Especially where I am, because there's not a lot of light pollution. It kind of follows with the Milky Way across the sky where I live.
Wow.
I've never seen the Milky Way. We can't see it here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go visit Flagstaff, go ride some zebras and shit.
We'll go look at some rhinos and lions and
unicorns,
try catch a giraffe.
I used to be terrified of giraffes when I was a kid. I was convinced that they had long necks like that so they could come down and bite your head.
Has nothing to do with eating leaves out of trees.
No, I was convinced. Yeah, people say, "Oh, they're harmless." I say, "Yeah, that's what you think."
No, they're damn dangerous, man. They
That's
can
what I
kill
heard.
you. They can stand on you and kill you.
God, I bet that'd be a.
Go ahead. It's a giant leopard with hooves.
Well, the closest I've come to anything like that was I was building this log cabin up here in the mountain, and of course they didn't on that site. You're not going to have a porta john that goes up there and is emptied all the time. And we were just a small crew. We'd go off in the woods, right? So I was in the woods there, relieving myself, and I heard the leaves rustle, and I turned and looked, and there's this black bear, probably no more than 10 feet away from me, man. And he just stops and looks over at me like, "Oh, you do too, huh?" And then he walked away. I was like, "Oh my God." I was really, I was like, "What the hell? That bear could have just mauled me." But they don't really want to mess with you. But I guess he was upset for me crapping in his woods because a couple days later, I'm up on the second floor. There was like a loft type. The second floor was like a loft, and I was looking down into the great room while I was putting some flooring down. And I hear something shuffling, and this bear come in the door, walked right in there to the middle of the great room, took a crap in the middle of the floor, and walked back out. And I was like, it was like, "Sure, that's fair play, right? Where'd Stinky go? What happened to Stinky Cash? He's gonna have to hit that link again or something." Anyway, let me go on back with this video a little more.
Galileo's method. Focus slowly started to turn back to clocks. You see, before he died, Galileo had sketched out plans for a new kind of clock, known as the pendulum clock. Now, if you have a string, let's say, and you hang a weight from it, and then you start swinging it, you'd imagine that as it slowly slows down from friction and other forces, the time that it takes to swing back and forth would also go down because it has less distance to travel. However, that is not the case. The period of the wave doesn't change, only the magnitude, only how far it swings changes. The actual time does not. Legend has it that Galileo noticed this watching a lamb swing in church when he was a young boy after a monk had lit it. But that's a long time before Galileo died, so take it with a grain of salt. What we do know is that Galileo never built his pendulum clock. He died before he could. However, that didn't stop his son from doing it.
Don't you guys find that very odd? It's a very recurring thing I've seen with history. People that postulate something, they die before it gets realized or created or done.
I wonder why that is.
That's a story. Yeah. They made it up after the fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's probably the gist of it as well.
Nor did it stop another man who came up with the idea first. The first pendulum clock was actually constructed in 1656 by a man named Christian Huygens. Huygens? Huygens? His name. And we're going to call him Chris, because Chris is just easier. So Chris constructed his clock in 1656, and he wasted no time proclaiming that this clock had solved the longitude problem. He quickly built 2 clocks that he proclaimed marine timekeepers and published a manuscript confirming these beliefs. And people responded, with his 2 marine timekeepers quickly being sent off on their maiden voyages. And initial testing was promising, with the clocks keeping time admirably. However, further testing proved that this was by no means foolproof. It showed that rough waters and changing climates quickly destroyed Chris's clock's accuracy. But Chris wasn't so easily deterred that his first clock idea failed, and he didn't call it quits. Instead, he kept innovating and came up with a second kind of clock that he believed would solve the longitude problem. Well, okay, maybe he came up with it. Chris's second idea was called the spring balance clock, and it used an oscillating spring to tell time. Chris patented this idea in France in 1675 without much difficulty. However, when he tried to apply for the patent in England, it was actually England. Great Britain didn't exist yet. I cannot stress this enough. So when Chris tried to get the patent in England, he ran into problems because another man had also tried to patent the same idea. This led, and I forgot his name right now, so his name's going to be here. This led to a lengthy patent battle. However, for our purposes, it didn't matter. Neither man ever used the spring balance to create a marine timekeeper. However, with this patent battle, we've seen the exit of Chris from our story, and we've also reached a new century. By this point, by the beginning of this century, empires had begun to be forged. And so, the need for a solution to longitude was becoming more and more apparent. And this century also brought about one more man, the man who would finally solve the longitude problem. But that is a story for another time.
He's just going to fucking leave?
He just did. He just, I'm done now. Come back to me.
There's a part 2.
Oh, Jesus.
There's part 2.
He's high or something, dude. He has no attention span at all.
All you're doing was mocking him, so.
I was like, what in the world? But I thought he put it out there pretty good. He knew the information pretty well, despite his dancing around and that kind of thing. So what you end up running into with this is, as you can see, all of these distances are calculated, and they have to be calculated using a coordinate system that is tightly controlled, as we showed earlier with the Royal, what the fuck is the thing called? The Royal Board of Longitude. And, they're the ones that, okay, this is where it's going to be set. Stinky and I went over all the rigmarole behind the nautical mile. Holy crap, what a mess that in itself is. So now you've got the Earth. Show me.
No, it's not a big mess if you understand math. If you don't understand math, yeah, it'll be confusing as hell.
Accurate math.
Wow.
That is a combination of actual measured distances and assumed calculated distances using observations of.
No. All measurements are calculated.
Moving distant objects.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I think that people don't really understand in the South. There's much more wider oceans to cross than there in the North.
Yeah.
So they're not really going to measure as they do in the North. And then they're just going to postulate because of the globe, they just mirrored the North and say, oh, what you see now? Now the distances have to match, and they don't match. So therefore, you guys are just wrong.
Yeah,
That's a gullible.
Yes, they do match. Yes, distances match when you put them. When you put the flat map around a globe, the distances match.
These globies are.
Yep. And that's what we tried to tell Sean before. Any map, whatever map you're using, that's as accurate as we're going to get. And don't tell me globe, because a globe's not a map.
No.
Nobody uses a globe for navigation for any reason whatsoever. Ever.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. What are you talking about, liar?
Ever.
Well, I've still asked them. Can you please show me a globe where those new 7,000 islands are out of Japan? Nobody has taken that offer to show me where it is.
No, they didn't appear on my globe. They must not have drawn them on. I mean, the whole thing is they had to end up changing it. It's based on an assumed diameter. Where did we come up? We had that on the.
But you see the issue, and they say it's 100% accurate. Okay, then show me those islands, please.
And they don't have on it.
Right. We're not saying that a desk globe is the most accurate thing. We're saying Google Earth, it's a globe map. That's a globe, a very accurate globe. And matches reality perfectly.
I'd like to see an accurate map, but they don't have one, probably.
Well, that whole area of the South Pacific is, they've been discovering little tiny islands that nobody knew about all the time. And in fact, I'd heard stories about people, finding this little island and going aboard it, and then they get attacked by some Japanese guy. And it's like 1952. And they're going, wait a second, why is this guy attacking us? Well, that was his job, was to guard that post, and nobody told him the war was over. Just forgot about it. Here's these little islands nobody ever knew about, little atolls, all kinds of shit. If there's that, who knows what the hell else there could be there? Because who's going to go sailing through those big, vast, open areas of water?
Well, isn't that the whole reason they invented the 45? Because the Marines were running into these guys on these islands, and they had to have stopping power.
Oh, no. It was in the islands. Yeah. But it was in the early 1900s. We had some kind of conflict. See, we've always been at war with somebody. Even though it's not declared, the United States is always someplace fucking with somebody. And this was particularly in the Philippines. And this is prior to 1911 because of 45.
Oh, monkey. You okay? Got a hairball.
5 caliber 1911 was designed for the very thing you're talking about. What they found is that these guys, when they're coming at them, the standard hard sidearm was a 38. And when they shot the guy coming at him with a bayonet with a 38, even though it may kill the guy still was moving forward with that bayonet and would quite often still stab his target. Whereas when John Moses Browning developed the 1911, the 45 caliber 1911, that was designed to be fat and slow, but which gave it that punch. Instead of piercing right through the target, it gives it a punch as it does that too, taking the target with it. That was why it was developed, but not for those guys after World War II. No, the 45 caliber was out long, in fact, since 1911. I have a Kimber made in a 1911 model. It's really nice. Scored a bullseye with that thing first time I ever shot it. I was pretty proud of myself. Yeah, usually people say you can't hit shit with a 45. Hell, I was about 30 yards away and I hit one of those little Coleman propane tanks you get for camping. They're about that big. I set it over. I was about 30 yards and I just drew a bead and pow. It just snowed. It just snowed all over the whole area. It's crazy.
So high pressure to low pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any container with that?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Roger. Okay.
I don't know if you watched Rachel's latest Prying to Say What Space Is video. I mean, I don't know if she was high or something or very drunk. She didn't really make sense. Apparently, her argument is the reason I can give you a container is because space is just a place you're moving to. So where does space end? That's practically what she said. So the globe can have a container because space is where you're moving to. Everybody's gonna.
What kind of ridiculous thing did he just say?
Do you have any container with that?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Roger. Okay.
I don't know if you watched Rachel's latest Prying to Say What Space Is video. Oh man, I don't know if she was high or something or very drunk. She didn't really make sense. Apparently, her argument is the reason I can give you a container is because space is just a place you're moving to. So where does space end? That's practically what she said.
Yeah, where does it end? Because we measure zero pressure way, way high up. And we don't run into any container. So where does space start? Where does space end?
So the globe can have a container because space is where you're moving to.
No, there's no container. Dang, man, this guy is not smart at all. Very dishonest. Very dishonest. Very slanderous.
Watch it. Everybody's going to think, is this person on high or what? Really, there's no coherency with the argument at all.
Is she claiming that space is contained? I mean,
everything's in space, man. Space is infinite.
What?
Can't hear you, mate. I don't know.
What? Is my or something? We okay? What happened? Everybody gone? Can you all still hear me? You hear me, Roger? Hello? Can you fucking people hear me?
Yeah, you dropped out. So did I.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's like everything just. I could see you talking, but I couldn't hear you.
Okay, I guess
it. Yeah, I just dropped. That's all.
So, she thinks space is contained. Then that's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because remember that time she came to talk to us. It's not a long video if you want to watch.
Yeah, let's watch it real quick. Geez, I have to look her up. Let me see here. Let's see.
The only reason I can see the stuff is because she tags me.
Yeah, I checked the print and it's still going. Haven't had a failure yet.
The one that's not obsessed with me talks about me constantly and tags me in the videos.
Is it just Rachel?
Shows a line on the paper.
Let's see, one or something like that. What's her handle? Do you got a link? Put the link in the.
Okay, let me look up very quickly.
Let me see. I just put that. Okay. See if I can do it. I must be spelling it wrong. Not right. Whoa, you're fuzzing on us, Roger. I've got another.
Hold on, I'll get better.
Okay, I stuck it in the comments, private chat.
I got you. All right, let's pull that up. Boom, 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 boom. I like how she's got that ominous music on her videos. Let me freeze it. Oh, container space thoughts. All right.
So nothingness is nothing. So if you have space, for example, say the space in your room, you can move, through that space, right? You can move from one wall to the other wall, whatever. You can move within that space. So space is not nothing. Space is something that you can move in. It has to be something in order for you to move in it. That space has to exist for you to move in that space. So space is something. It's something that you can move through. So space is something. Space is not nothing. It's something that you can move in. Space, you can move through the space. Now, if there was actually nothing, then you won't be able to move.
Does she sound drunk at all? Or high? I think that's just slander. See, that's all you have, Flatsoid. That's all you got, Mouse.
because there is nothing. So if you start here and you move through the space, and this is the space, where does the space end? And if we say it ends here, what's beyond? If we say it ends here, what's beyond this space? Nothing, because without space, there's nothing. So if we have space,
So profound.
Holy shit, Roger, that's terrible.
Yeah,
Really
tasty good, man.
fuzzy.
I'll drop out. Drop out then.
All right. Yeah, that was really bad. Wow.
But I mean, that's so
rude.
profound. Space is space, guys. You move through space like no shit, Sherlock.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And we've gone up and we've gone past where our barometers say that we are zero pressure. But we keep going. We never stop. Where does it end? Where does this system end?
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, thank you for that.
I mean, you say we can't go out so far. Well, what's past that? Like Nathan Oakley says, space is fake. Well, we can go so far. What's out there? It's got to be something. It can't be nothing.
Information here, Reggie.
And if it's fake, what are we protecting our atmosphere from? I'm sorry, planosphere. What are we protecting our planosphere if it's fake? That means no air could rush into something that's fake. They don't think there's stuff through very often.
Availability for gas to move, then.
Yes. Absolutely. There he is. I'll take that one back off. Let me kick that one. There, he's back. All right. I don't hear any static. It's a good sign.
comes to an end, it has so much of a length sail, so much of a width, so much of a height. And it comes to an end, it just stops. Even though obviously it's meant to be expanding on that, but let's ignore that for a second. Inside space came to an end. Nothing could go past that point anyway, because you need to have space in order to move through space. So in a way, space is a container. This is what I was trying to talk about.
Wow.
With me saying I'll give you the container almost kind of thing. Because even if we give him a container, it doesn't stop the Earth being a globe. Whereas he and other flat earthers can't explain anything. They can't detect a container. They can't show us a container. They can't tell us.
I think Elon's shown it to us a few times here recently.
Who? By showing the Truman Show? No, you've never shown the container. You've never proven that there's a container. You just give some circular reasoning. Container because there has to be container, because there's a container, because there has to be. That's what we get from you.
I sure would like to know what the fuck that thing been scraping against and why that spray is happening up there. I sure as hell would like to know.
But I mean, have you seen how she totally glossed over that what the volume is and how containment is needed to have volume?
Yep.
No, you don't need containment to have a volume of something. You don't. You don't understand geometry.
Yes, it has to have a limit in order to have a specific volume. Wow. Maybe she got into some...
Yes, the volume is limited to a certain size, a certain area, or a certain three-dimensional area. Yes, that's what volume is. You're limiting an area. You're limiting the dimensions of substance. Yes, it is limited. Man.
I don't know, man. She's weird, man.
I think this is just her trying to defend herself for saying she gave us the container. I think the Globies are attacking her on that. So she's trying to save face or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, don't they say that outer space is infinite? Isn't that
yes, it is.
Pretty much.
Yes, it is.
And it says it's expanding, so it has to be expanding to where?
Yeah, into what? From where into what? That's
Right.
our whole argument.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because that was she was all right. I'll give you. She was about half in the tank that day too.
Height of a container.
You think she sounds like she's drunk?
They can't tell us what the container's made of. They can't demonstrate it in any way, shape, or form that a container is actually there. They just
That's
believe
false.
it is. They can't work.
No, it is false. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true, liar.
That's false. She says we can't demonstrate that there's container there. That's false.
No, you can't. You can't. You can't demonstrate that there's a container. You can rationalize your way around it. You can rationalize believing in it, but you can't demonstrate it.
Exactly, breathing means it's there.
Yeah.
See, if I say that demonstrate a lighter, I can't say, well, lighters are red. That doesn't work.
That's exactly.
See, it's funny when we have to demonstrate something, we have to prove it, we have to show it, we have to physically manipulate it. But they just have to say, well, we breathe.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. It's just like with the cow and the steak.
Right. So that's circular reasoning. That's a logical fallacy, and it won't be permitted.
I don't have to see the cow. I don't need a picture of the cow to know that I'm eating a cow. Okay, it came from a cow. And these idiots, I've had 3 of them do this to me so far. Well, what if it's plant-based meat? I said steak is plant-based meat. The cow eats grass.
No, it's not. It's not. It eats grass and creates nutrients to grow the beef-based meat. Jesus.
And turns into meat. Okay, that's plant-based. But they're, how do you know it's not lab-grown? Oh, shut up. Jesus.
How do you know? How do you know?
At the pressure, they can't use the gas laws that they sought to work.
Oh, shut up. I don't like facing reality. I don't like when things disagree with my opinion.
At the pressure. They say you need a volume. They don't know the volume of their own container.
I mean, that's what a bully does. Confronted with something that goes against what they believe. Oh, you shut up.
Can't even give you a height.
It's also what a 5th grader does.
To be. Get
It's got 14.7 psi at the ground.
Right.
Reggie.
And if I had to guess at a height, I'm going to go with 62 miles because that's where they're saying the Kármán line's at.
Yeah, who knows?
Magic line where you pop into space.
Yeah, but that's what we try.
No, that's not what the Kármán line is. Just another example of how ignorant you are.
I tried to ask her about when she was talking. Like your rhetoric says space starts at the Kármán line.
Right.
And that's just started like, oh no.
No, doesn't. The place where we don't have enough atmosphere to create lift on an aircraft, that's the Kármán line.
No, you're just making this up. That's not where space starts. It's not outer space. Yeah, there's no such thing as space.
She better get up to her own belief system there because that is absolutely what they say. That is part of the whole thing. If you've got a 62 miles and there's your Kármán line, that's where space starts at. Come on, bro. I think you're right. She is trying to save face. And she doesn't know shit about either model, to tell you the truth. I don't think she knows shit about either one. Somebody propped her up for this.
Says the guy who's proven that you don't know anything.
But I'm just a dumb flirter. I wouldn't know anything.
So I'm done. I'm done with these idiots. It's almost 3 hours. So if you want to go watch it, you're welcome to it. I won't endure anymore. The dude can't abide. So, yeah, music was ominous. He just ignorant. Yeah, there is no flat earth model. There's only one because a model is measurements. So you have none because you're too chicken to come up with some to measure it. You just stop at the first step of the scientific method while demanding that we do everything that adheres to that. So pretty sad as usual. So this is the twofer. Was I live today? Did I go live today? No, I went live 3 times yesterday. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe. Click the bell notification or make sure it's turned on for you. Tune in again next time when we show more stupid people. Drop some money if you can. PayPal link is just up in the chat. And till next time, thanks for watching. Be seeing you. And share the show if you can.